Welcome to Cranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Cranky, and this is the Cranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Cranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Cranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Cranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Good afternoon, or good evening. How are you doing? Can you guys hear me loud and clear? It is Monday. A lot is happening. I'm trying to set up my apparatus here. I was running to get back to my desk. Dr. Don, bless up. Good evening. Thanks for joining. I'm trying to get my stuff set up here. I have a few. This is going to be a shorter show this evening, actually. I have some stuff I have to get taken care of, but I want to come and talk about a few things. As you know, I always introduce some topic first, then go into the main discussion. So we do the same thing tonight, same pattern, same structure, same process. So I'll start out by saying this. By the way, there is a watch along in Brooklyn at Bellyful Restaurant. I think it's 2102 Utica Avenue, at least. I know they have one in Jamaica, one in the Bronx, one in Queens, where they're going to have a simultaneous watch along for the Jamaica versus Trinidad game on Thursday. So if you're in the vicinity for each of these locations, you should attend. And if I do a show on Wednesday, I'll give you more details. I should be at the one in Brooklyn. I've been asked to get involved, so we'll see how that works out, actually. So what topics are we going to talk about today? Because I think I have a few. One is I see where Trump imposed tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada, and then they decided to delay, as they call it, those tariffs. I think they were 25% on products from Mexico and Canada, with the view that this is to force them to address the fentanyl situation. A lot of said the borders are too porous and they're not doing a good enough job to prevent that from coming to the U.S. So that's the rationale. I think there's probably underlying reasons for this. And I think it would be devastating to the Canadian economy and to the Mexican economy, because I think they have a huge trade deficit between them and the U.S. I think Canada's about $75 billion. I think Mexico is probably much worse. A lot of products are finished in Mexico, so you can imagine they go there. Some might finish, they finish them up, they send them up to the U.S. across the border. There's a lot of trade there. So yes, it would affect the U.S. I think they quantified maybe half a percentage point or something like that, 1 percentage point of GDP. So the U.S. can withstand it. There'll be some pain, but I think what Canada is doing is very smart and subtle, which is they were going to target products that came from mainly down south, not the east or the west coast, or maybe Midwest, because they want to make sure the core of Trump base feel most of the pain if they effectuate or put in place the same tariff percentages of 25% from products from those regions. All this is going to do just create more inflation, people, frankly, because people are going to buy what they need. They may delay or not buy what they want, or luxury item that, I won't call them luxury item, but things that they don't really need. I mean, delay or reduce their consumption. So I don't know why we can't all just get along and figure it out, actually. If the borders are too porous and allowing drugs to come across, then yeah, they need to address it. But I think Trump is trying to stamp out authority and tell his constituent that he's doing what they hired him to do, or they elected him to do, I should say, not hire. And then you saw U.S. aid being dismantled by Musk and his minions, what do you want to call them. And it's interesting, actually, because I'm not sure how the Republicans get comfortable with this, which is you have somebody who doesn't have a contract with the U.S. government in terms of employment. So he's not an independent contractor. He's not an employee. And yet he have access to some of the most sensitive information. He took charge of the treasury system where all payments are made out of for the U.S. government last week. And you're like, what are we talking about here? Some civilian person is doing this and allowed to do so, and it's okay. And the Republicans in Congress are okay. And the MAGA people are okay. Really? The hypocrisy and double standards are out of control. But he's gonna blow up. Not literally, but he's gonna blow up. Trust me, it's gonna happen. He's gonna do something and he's gonna blow up big time. Now, Canada was being smart in that they were gonna impose 100% tariff on Teslas in Canada. Now, I'm not sure how big a market they have there, but I think people need to do that. I think I would never buy a Tesla because of Musk. Seriously. I'm looking at vehicles now and I'm like, I'm not buying a Tesla. Even though I like electric vehicle, I want to protect the environment. I'm not buying it. I don't want nothing to touch with that. I don't care how much Tesla stock goes up. I'm not buying it. Nothing to do with Musk or whatever. I do have a Twitter account, which I'm thinking about canceling actually. And I do pay a fee for the account to try to progress this program, but I'm thinking about canceling because I don't want any. So I don't think you should boycott individuals because you have different political ideology. But I think you should boycott people who are just, to me, in my view, I view him as racist. I view him as misogynist. I view him as somebody just not good, not a good person. And I don't want to engage or do an association with somebody who's not a good person. They say he's a special government employee. I mean, look, we all agree that government sometimes are so bureaucratic, they get so big, they need to be revisited. But the way he's doing it, and if you voted for Trump and you work for USAID, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you. I saw they showed some picture the other day of some man being arrested by ICE. He on the back of his thing about Trump. Like Trump is the greatest and he's going to get sent back to his country. Yeah, I hope you get sent back to your damn ass country. Yeah, not buying into that. Markets were down quite a bit today because of the tariff situation. Because tariffs just create inflation, make markets jittery, businesses jittery, and it will have implications for a lot of different things. When markets go down, companies in trouble, people's 401k get all messed up. So a lot to think about. But yeah, he's doing his thing, so we'll see what happens. Just gotta stay low. If you're not straight in the US, I suggest you cut off all communication and move from where you are, go someplace you can lie low for a while with someone who can put you away, because it's not a good look. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And if you are traveling, make sure your papers are straight when you travel to go. Somebody just sent me something, I'm not sure if it's true or not, about some person who went to Cote d'Ivoire in Africa with their Cote d'Ivoire passport and that. And they have a U.S. citizenship, but when they're coming back, they wouldn't let them in because supposedly you need to be a U.S. citizen all the time. Some nonsense. And the immigration officer was withholding their passport. I don't even know how that works. And they're saying it's legal. Bullshit. Sorry. But people are going to come up with all sort of stuff to justify doing things. And all this is, and people don't like me saying this, is Caucasians are saying they want their country back. That's all this is all about. You can talk about all your other crap you want to talk about economy and immigration. They just say they want their country back. They want to be the majority. They don't want to be the minority. And going to find ways to change laws to allow them to take out all of the country that they took from the Indians years ago and have it permanently. That's all this is. So we can play games about X, Y, Z, but it is what it is. And if you don't realize that, and that's why it's upsetting to think about Jamaica, because at least you think you have a sanctuary where you can go back and live and enjoy yourself with good weather and all that. And then all the man do how much at the place with them gunting and people afraid to go live there and nonsense. You have a paradise, you don't know you have a paradise. It's crazy. But I do think it's a wake-up call for a lot of countries, because U.S. aid is very important for a lot of organizations. US give out about 1% of the GDP as contributions to different organizations, different countries, different institutions, non-for-profits. And mainly it's as a counter. USAID was formed by the Kennedys way back when as a counter to some of the more, I'm going to call it communist countries. Because North Korea, Iran, China, and Russia are all in this, operating almost like one entity nowadays, the way they're operating. And then they bring in they had the BRICS group, and then they expand that BRICS group to include other countries. So they're trying to counter the West. So USAID is meant to be, even though it was the initial genesis for this, it's meant to be something that's going to help to influence, engender loyalty, things of that nature. So if you cut it off, why do people need the US anyway? If you're not supporting those countries and those organizations, why do they need you? Why don't you just go to China? I think people sometimes are very short-sighted about how they operate. I don't realize that the US don't really invest in any place unless they're going to get a big return. While sometimes China will invest with the hope that they'll get a return, and there's a difference. And so they're not as draconian sometimes in terms of how they do it. Don't get me wrong, they're profit-oriented too. But they will, for example, build a port in Africa, in say Ethiopia, with the hope, without even requiring return on that investment, with the hope that they get more opportunities to do more things in that country and then generate the revenues and make up for any deficit that they may encounter. So it's really interesting. Yeah. So New Wave saying Bobcat dealer manufacturer, we were just informed effectively immediately we're not shipping in equipment to Canada. Yeah. You're going to hear a lot of crying, New Wave, a lot of crying for a lot of different places when these things occur. Now, they've delayed it, so things may go back to normal. Yeah, China does play the long game, New Wave. China does play the long game. They've been playing it for a while. And it's going to be interesting how it goes. I think China, see the difference between China, well, the difference used to be that China has no morality and US has morality. So US was restricted by the morality. That's now out the door. So they're both on the same level playing field. China doesn't care about the nature of the government. I mean, China is no quiet country, no quiet boy, actually. They don't care about how the people are suffering in a given country. They don't care about the government of the country. All they care about is what their interests entail. So you could be a dictatorship and brutalizing people. China don't care. That's coming. At least the US would appear, and I say appear because sometimes that's not actual reality, to care, and they'd push back on the government, except when the government support them. And then if it's their friend can do whatever they want to. So it's hypocrisy everywhere, people. And it becomes more apparent over time what how all this works. So anyway, enough of the political discussion. On to NBA, because I was over the weekend, you heard about the trade of Doncic for Anthony Davis. Now, and I think a lot of people have said this, which is you normally don't see situations where an all NBA player is traded for another all NBA player. So when you see these trades occur, the question that comes to your mind is, well, why did the trade? Anthony Davis is 32 in March. Luka Doncic is 25 years old. He's a superstar, probably one of the top 5, top 10 players in the NBA, similar to Anthony Davis in some respects, depending on who you ask. So why you make that trade with 7-year difference? And my only view on this, my only perspective on this is that I think the trade was made because, first of all, I think Dallas just lost. They are not happy with Luka and how Luka operates. I can just imagine Luka being very high maintenance, right? Don't keep his weight down, probably eat poorly, probably don't work out hard, doesn't play defense. So even though Anthony Davis is getting up there in age, they're like, you know what? We're going to do win now. Because our front line with Lively and what's his name, Garrett, and Anthony Davis, who will not play the 4 versus the 5, you want to play power forward versus center, and Kyrie in the backcourt, can win now. And Davis plays both ways, defense and offense. So I don't see this part of Genesis for the trade, but Luka is much younger. And if he gets himself in shape, LA will be in a good place. The only problem you have with LA is LeBron James, who is 40 and getting up there, is ball dominant player. Ball dominant. go ahead, have to have the ball. Luka cannot play without the ball. There's only one ball. Don't ask me how that's going to work. All right? Don't know how that's going to work. But anyway, I hear Rich Toy say, glad you know this. We need to focus on our people and stop worrying about U.S.-China relationship. Yeah, no, it all counts. We're all a pawn in this world, Rich Toy, as it relates to the U.S. and China. The rest of us are a pawn. Maybe Russia is someplace in the middle, someplace, but we're a pawn. The people with the biggest guns, and biggest guns are literally guns. It has the most resources, the most devastating weapons, the biggest armies, the most devastating armies are the ones who dominate. It's a fact. And some places in the world who used to be dominant are no longer dominant. So it's between the US and China now. It used to be the US and Russia, but Russia has struggled to derail Ukraine much less. And they've been doing, it's not like they're trying to, it's not like where you're targeting certain specific areas and you're trying to manage civilian casualty. They're not trying to do that. And yet they can't finish off Ukraine. Right? They have lost hundreds of thousands of men in that war because their weapons are not sophisticated as they used to be. And they're not what they used to be. It's now about China. And if all things were equal, the countries with the largest population should dominate. That is China and India. They both have almost 1.5 billion. I think India just passed China. I think China may be 1.3 something, and India's a little bit more. So they have 5 times the US size or 4+ times the US size. They should dominate. They should dominate. So not sure why that's not happening. All right? They should definitely dominate. They should dominate, but they don't, because obviously the US has been dominant for a while. But every there's a period of time for a dominant country, as we've seen over history, and at some point China is going to take over. The US can play all the games they want to play. At some point, your population size doesn't allow you to be dominant, all things being equal. They have 300 million people in China learning English. That's the population of the US. So yeah. Good evening, Tony. How you doing? And they have a wide economical footprint. The US still have the largest economy in the world, even though they are 4.5 times. China is 4 times US size, but China's per capita income is growing. They're the manufacturing capital of the world. They're a huge player, and they also don't have any restrictions on how they operate. So they take technology. They have stolen enough technology now to be self-sufficient technology-wise. And even though the US is trying to restrict them in terms of the chips that they use for do certain things, like for AI and for other manufacturing purposes, still doesn't matter. Still doesn't matter. Eventually, size matters, and in this case, their size matters. So yeah, so we'll see what happens when it comes to that actually, but it's interesting. But the NBA, which has been under the cosh somewhat, as they say in the UK, is making news because they're doing trades that matter. Nigel says, well, so I'm going to touch transfers now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do results first, then do transfers. I'm going to do transfers last. Let me do weekend results because I want to talk weekend results, right? I want to talk weekend results. Let me do weekend results first. And then I will talk transfers because I think the transfer window closed not too long ago. And there are a bunch of very good transfers, actually, that came through. I think one of the more active players in the window was Villa. Spurs came in late. And I thought Villa did a brilliant job, actually, in the window. And I know those of you who are Jamaicans were thinking about, is Bailey going to go to Man U? That didn't materialize. Why would Man U want to take a player who scored 1 goal this season? I was still trying to get my head around that. Right? I'm still trying to get my head around that, which is people are saying, and even the regular news media, and you know how the tabloids are in England, that they want to take Bailey because Rashford is going to Villa and Amorim want Bailey. And I'm like, really? You think Man U fans going to want a player who will score 1 goal this season? I don't think so. Anyway, let's do this weekend games. It was a really eventful weekend, right? Extremely eventful weekend. Now we had Brighton, who have played well this season. and we haven't beaten them this season. I think we drew with them twice. Under interesting, I'm sorry, when I say we, I mean Arsenal. Under interesting circumstances, because if you recall, the first game we played them, we got a red card, right? 2 yellows and a red card. I think that was that Trossard? No, Trossard got 2 yellows against City, but we got a red card the first game we played them. And then the second game we played them, that's when Saliba headbutted, well, supposedly, the Brazilian, which some people said they have never seen it before ever in a football game. So regardless of what it was, so we drew them twice. So we dropped 4 points to Brighton, where we probably should have beaten them twice. Now they played a Nottingham Forest team who got spanked by 5 week before, and they scored 7. And sometimes we look at players sometimes and we have a certain vision of what a player, the epitome of a player should be, or what the perfect player looks like. Sure don't look like Chris Woods, but he's sure putting in the goals, because he's way in double figures goal. He's got about 15 now. He scored a hat trick. They put 7 past Brighton. And it was not like Brighton played terrible, you know. I think Brighton had, I think Nottingham Forest had about 37% possession, or somewhere around that region. So Brighton had 63% possession and got beaten 7 people. I've never heard that ever. I know one time, I think it was Leicester played Man City, and probably similar stats, and they got beaten by 4 when Vardy was running wild. But 7? And they could have scored more. No, Gibbs White looked like and Elanga looked ridiculously good, actually. And Chris Wood obviously just is not missing chances. He's scoring goals. Once in a while, he misses a chance, but I think he probably scores more than he misses, which is always good. But it was really interesting watching that game, because I did watch the early game. And Nottingham Forest, Brighton just wasn't at the races. It was crazy in terms of scoring, but they had the ball. It kind of shows you need to use the ball when you have it. Nitro is saying, check on your friend JD's missing after the box yesterday. Yeah, I didn't text him. I decided to do, people. We'll talk about that. Because some people were saying, because I did the watch along with Man City and Arsenal. They were saying I should link JD, XYZ. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be humble. I'm going to be humble and not even text JD. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to rub it in his face. I'm going to leave it alone. And I did. I didn't text him. I played, passive. I didn't get, carried away. I just said, okay, good night, Conrad, how are you doing? So yeah, no, I didn't link him. I didn't link him. And then we had the game between Bournemouth and Liverpool. Now, in this game, Liverpool was probably the better team, probably nipped it being a better team. And for people who don't know, I think Bournemouth have 12 players who are out. That means 12 players who are in their squad who are injured. Emerson, a bunch of them are injured. And they did get Adams back, who's back. By the way, Adams, who plays for the US, is playing very, very good. But they still played well. And when they were down, the penalty was a little bit dubious, frankly. He did touch him, but it was inadvertent. It was accidental. I guess that doesn't matter. But I think what was interesting was Kluivert, who has scored about 2 hat-tricks this season, was on a tear. He got a goal that you and I could score, actually. And he missed, which I found interesting. The way he tried to take that goal. And the goals he scored before, forget about the 3 penalties, as part of his hat-trick, were 3 different goals, very good goals, well placed, well taken. And yet he panicked against the bigger team, and he needed to just be some composure. Because I was hoping Liverpool would draw. It made the title race interesting. Yeah. Tony says Havertz didn't get the trip penalty. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Did Havertz get tripped? Yeah, but it all depends on the referee, right? And VAR, if it's subjective, is going to go with the referee's decision, which they've been probably been told to do, actually. So, but it was not. I wouldn't say it's an overly exciting game. It was a decent game. Salah's goal was ridiculous, as he normally does. He opens up. He used the defender. When I watched the play before he shot, I said to myself, the player has to force him down to the baseline, force him down to the touchline, because if he comes inside on the left, he's going to try to put the top corner, and he did exactly that. I don't know why defenders don't say, you know what? If I have to overcommit, I'm going to overcommit. I'm not letting him get to his left. Just like anyone near it, frankly, they're not going to the left. Because all they're doing is going to use you as a guide, like the post, and put the ball in the top corner. And people are that good nowadays. And it was a brilliant goal. But I think Bournemouth is going to be doing well, actually. They were about on an 11-game unbeaten streak after slamming Newcastle 4 the week before at their, so disappointing for Arsenal fans because, we thought if we beat Man City, we'd be closer. But then we gave it up the week before by drawing with Villa when we had them 2-0. And what I realized, and I'll get to us actually, when I get to us, I'll talk about that. Everton, Leicester, David Moyes is doing a wonderful job. Wonderful job. 4-0. So they have won 3 on the spin. And they couldn't win nothing on the dice. And Moyes went back home and good home cooking seemed like it's working. They're going to go into the new stadium next year. So Everton fans must be ecstatic. They probably have some relief from PSR. And then they'll be able to invest more in the team. So now, good deal for Everton. And, they're a big team. And that would give them some momentum and some confidence going into the game against Liverpool. Because we need them to take a point at Liverpool or something. And it's a derby, so somebody's going to get a red card someplace. Then we have Ipswich against Southampton. And I didn't really watch this game, just a little bit of highlights. I like the lap actually for Ipswich. I'm surprised nobody's pursuing him. Hey, Tony, would the lap work for Arsenal? Have you watched him? That kid got a lot of attributes that a good forward requires. Quick, can hold the ball up, left foot, right foot, decent in the air. He's a good player. I think he's somebody, and he's young too. He was at City, obviously, before he got sold, but I think he got a lot of talent. And City has a lot of talent, right? They had Palmer, they had Sancho, they did a lot. Because when they came in, they spent a lot of money building their academy, and they've got some good players in there. Newcastle lost to Fulham after leading 1-0, which is surprising, given that they played at home. And maybe it's a good thing or a bad thing that maybe they were looking forward to the game against us this week on Wednesday. Or maybe they're just not playing as well because they got slammed by Bournemouth before. And now they got beaten by Fulham, who are playing good, actually. And actually, I think William is going to be joining them. William will never go away. He's always coming back. Came back to come to Arsenal, go to Fulham, left, come back. Tony says he's not seen enough of the lap. Now, I've watched him actually because I watched Hutchinson play. He's a good player, Tony. Quick, too. A lot of good attributes. Quick, flexible, strong, really good player. He just looked like almost like a little bit of a running back, actually, the way he's built. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think he's somebody the big team should look at. He's better than all the Man U forwards. He's probably as good as Solanke. Yeah, he's as good as Solanke. No, he's a good player. Wolves, Aston Villa, which is interesting. Wolves won. Really good goal by Cunha. I did watch that game also. Bailey did come on at halftime, but his game was like his season so far. He just so. But Villa did brilliant in the transfer window, which we'll talk about. Because they went out and got a lot of assets. Because it looked like Ollie Watkins pulled something in that game. He looked like he has a groin injury. So he may be out for a while. They sold Duran. I don't know why you would sell Duran in January. I know the money is nice, but the money could be there come the summer. I don't know why you do that. Let me just make a comment on Duran, though. But this is important. I heard Simon Jordan, who's on Talk Sports in the UK, berating Duran for going to Saudi Arabia because he's 21 and blah, blah, blah. Simon, go jump off a bridge. You're clueless. Let me say something, people. Duran is going to make, I'm sure he was making more than $50,000 a year at Villa, right? So he's probably making about 300,000 where he's going. I calculate he's taking home about 15 times what he would be taking home when he was at Villa. And the reason why is because in the UK, if you make over 149,000, you pay about 45% tax. So you think about that. If he's making 50,000, he'd probably take home less than 30,000. If he's in Saudi Arabia, he makes 250, he might take home 250. Because I don't think Colombia taxes you on the worldwide income, just like the UK does if you stay in the country a certain amount of time. So you're taking home 25,000 versus 250 a week. Hello. That's what, 10 times? It was more than 10 when I calculated. I think I'm missing something in it because I think I looked at the numbers. But even if it's 10 times, people, the number, that's huge. 10 times. So call it 10 years. So what I'm making 1 year, I'm making 10 years. Now, obviously, his salary would have increased if he stayed. If he stayed in the US, in UK, he would have gotten an increase in his comp, probably maybe up to 6 figures. But I can make, say I make that money back in 2 years. I could be at 21, stay over there till I'm 24, 25, 4 years, make much more than I'm making my entire life, come back and play in Europe and still be good and still have a lot of time in my hand. To me, it's a no-brainer. So Tony says he's making $320 a week. So think about it, Tony. $320 a week. I'm sure he wasn't getting more than 50,000 at Villa because he came from what, Chicago? So you're talking about 15 times 15 is what, 225? He's making 50. Yeah, he's making 15. It's ridiculous, people. It's ridiculous. In 2 years or in a year and a half, he's going to make, based on what he makes now, what he would make for his entire career in England if he doesn't get a raise, which he probably would have gotten. It's a no-brainer. I'm running to go to Saudi Arabia to get some of that money if I'm him. I'll figure out what I do after to make my money in 2 or 3 years. And in fact, and he probably comes from not the most wealthy background in Colombia. He can do a lot for his people in his country. Simon, go jump up a bridge. He was on 75K. So if on 75K, Tony, he'd take home 37,000. No, say take about 39,000, 40,000 a year. And he's making, 40,000 a week. And he's making, and he probably have gotten a raise to that 75,000 because when he came from Chicago, she was making 75,000. So and he's making 325. It's about 10 times. So yeah, it's a no-brainer, people. It's a no-brainer. Nitro say, can't blame Duran. I think people want you to live up to their expectation, which is I'm British. It's all about the competition. It's all about what I can do legacy-wise. And some people, it's a job to them. It's a job. Ben White say he doesn't like football. He doesn't watch football. So it's a job. I go to work. I do my work. When I go home, I want to do something else. Exactly. So he got raised maybe when West Ham came in for him, Tony. He probably got to double his money, right? He went from 30,000 to what, 70,000, you said? So he doubled his comp, just over double his comp. And now he's going from 75 to 325. So in 4 times that number. So he went from 30 to 325. So it was 10 times. And the best thing about it is, so he went from 30,000 last year to 325. The 30,000 he probably get paid, if you average it out, maybe 17, 18 in his pocket after taxes. And now he keeps the whole 325. You can't make this up, people. It's like he just won the lottery. And it's working well for him. But anyway, we digress. Let's finish the rest of the scores because we got to get to my team. Brentford versus Tottenham. Tottenham 1-2-0. Late goal. Brentford had chances. Wissa had a really good chance to score in the first half. I'm not sure he missed that. The ball came at him pretty quickly. By the way, Tottenham did okay in the transfer window in January. We'll touch upon that too, but it's interesting that they've had so many injuries, and now the Romanian has an ACL injury, so he's out because they had Romario out, Van de Ven out, what's his name? Gravesen, whatever his name is. Dragosin, who was the center half, was Romanian. He now has an ACL. They just are devastated with injury. Devastated. Yeah. Nitro said, Jed Spence was brilliant in that match. Yeah. The problem with Jed Spence being brilliant is that we can't really pursue him because I know he's hoping to play for England, but he probably would get a chance to play because Tuchel's going around looking at everybody. And Jed Spence has been good. Really good. Look, I saw Jed Spence 3 years ago. Yeah, Tony, Dragosten. I saw Jed Spence about 3 years ago playing against us, Nottingham Forest against Arsenal when they knocked us out the FA Cup. And he locked up Martinelli. That's what I think that one game made Tottenham buy him. Because he had problem between Middlesbrough and where he was back and forth, and probably it was a little bit of a head case. But he was brilliant in that game, made Martinelli look like he can't play football, even though sometimes that's not hard to do. And then Tottenham bought him. Conte didn't like him. He went to Italy, probably got some game time, got some confidence, came back, and he's playing well. And the thing is, he's playing left back and he's a right footer. So, yeah. Left back, but he's a right footer. So he's doing really well, actually. But hopefully, And Jamaica doesn't have a JFF doesn't have a recruiting process, so that's why we shouldn't even think about those things because they ain't recruit nobody. If you don't come ask the JFF to play for them, or somebody like Devon Porter no go ask the people them and go down and DM. No, JFF never recruit nobody. Whether deliberate or not, they don't recruit nobody. They keep saying they have all these contacts, and it's annoying just hearing the nonsense because they don't recruit nobody. I know some people at JFF not gonna like me saying that, but that's true. Never recruit nobody. The coach is supposed to be doing that now, so let's see what he does. But the JFF doesn't have the construct in place to effectively recruit some players who they may be able to get, but don't know how to do the pursuit. They should go ask the US how they do it. How they got Balogun after 2 years of pursuit. They need to work on that. But then again, maybe they don't want to because they have the quota system. Man U versus Crystal Palace. Man U lose again. And even though they had more of the ball, they're so ordinary. People, this is hard to do. Apart from Tottenham, and Tottenham can make the excuse of having injuries, which is legit. Man U have some injuries, but that's not Man U is what, the third? If you think about all the teams and the money table, we have what? We have Real Madrid. I think isn't Man U second? I know Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern all are up there. Arsenal is up there too. But for you to have so much money and you spend so much on salaries and nonsense, it's crazy that you don't have enough money to go out and make certain purchases, or you acquire assets which are not assets, they're liabilities. No, Tony, Anthony Radar can't play for England. He played for the US. He's brilliant though, but he played for the US. He's the one that ran riot against Jamaica when I went to watch them in St. Louis. Dr. Dan said the coach is not good. Hey, Dr. Dan. By the way, people, Dr. Dan, who did a really good job the other day when I interviewed him, is a Man U fan. Hey, Dr. Dan, let me tell you this. No coach is good enough for Man U. Unless you Alex Ferguson is not good enough, they can create miracles. Because you got rid of Marino, you get rid of Solskjaer, you get rid of what do you want? Ten Hag. No, Amorim not good. You had somebody that came in between, the Dutch coach, forgot his name, who thinks he's a genius. You have so many coaches. Moyes wasn't good enough, but he's doing okay at Everton. Nobody's good enough for you. You need to look in the mirror. But the coach ain't good enough. These coaches, whenever they are, they come to Man U, they can't win. Some of them actually win. They had Ruud too, but Ruud was very short interim. I think they have, Tony, who's in the chat, we always have this discussion. Levels. You know what levels mean, people? There are levels to this thing, right? So you may be good, but if you're going to be at a certain place, Van Gaal, thanks, Rich Pooh. If you're going to be at a certain place, you have to be better than good. Good is not good enough. You got to be great or excellent or very good. Man U players are average or good. Good means you're mid-table. You can't be spending $80 million on Anthony, and he can't score a goal, even though Anthony did play well for Real Betis this weekend, by the way. He was man of the match in that game. It tells you a lot, actually. How Man U players will leave and go someplace else and look good. I bet Rashford going to look like a real ball. Hey, here, it's going to be funny when Rashford got to Villa and hit the ball off the cover, because Emery going to give him time. And Emery's a brilliant coach, by the way. Man U fans going to lose their mind. Because what Man U coaches do when they come in, you saw this, every single Man U coach of late coming, apart from Solskjaer, was a player's player or a player's coach. They pick on a player and they use that player as a scapegoat. Mourinho did it with Pogba. Ten Hag did it with Sancho. And now Amorim does it with Rashford. They find some player to pick on as the scapegoat, especially not doing well. And they use that player for all the ills of the company, all these other club, right? And the media can focus on the player, take the focus away from them. Keep doing that nonsense. It ain't working because they're going to fire you or you know what. They're going to fire you because you're making decisions. The man had he had Mano playing a false nine. Hey, people, you can't make this crap up. The man had Mano playing a false nine. It was false, actually. It didn't get fixed up. Nothing true about it. Mano playing a false nine. Wow. You see Manu play football. Does Manu look like he has any false nine in him? This is the most asinine decision ever that I've ever seen a football coach do. And at some point, and because these coaches have been successful someplace else, sometimes, even with Pep, they feel they're beyond being questioned or beyond being challenged. We know nonsense when we see it. We know nonsense when we see it, and it's nonsense. You have two forwards on the bench. One costs 6-something million, one costs 30-something million, £100,000, £100,000 worth of. I put Ericsson in the false nine. At least he can shoot. I'll be looking at, you know what? Maybe you should go back to Portugal, to Sporting Lisbon, because you're clueless. You're clueless. You're like Pep sometime playing Nunes at right back. We're going to get to that game. But anyway, Man U lost to Crystal Palace, who are on a roll, by the way, and doing well. Another time, all these Spanish coaches. Is there any Spanish coach in the EPL not doing well? I know Lopetegui got fired at West Ham, but the Bournemouth coach, Pep is not doing terrible. Arteta, the Crystal Palace coach, most of them doing well, actually. Most of them do well. Emery, there's a bunch of them. They take over the EPL. By the way, I've always said this: Spain has the most pro-licensed coaches in the world by far, and their national team is doing well at all levels. So it kind of shows when they have this, when they also export coaches. Now the Rich Poo says, "Dancy, I want Russia to go crazy." Yeah, me too. Tony says, who's the best goalkeeper, Tony? Best goalkeeper in the EPL is either Raya or Martinez, or Alisson. Liverpool fans would beat me. One of the three, actually. I think they are pretty close. So we go to the game between Arsenal and Man City. Now, I pick us to win 2-1 in that game, but I probably should have picked a higher score for Arsenal, because in the first half, Man City had dominated possession of the ball, even though we're up 1-0. First of all, the Man City team I know, and here's the problem why they miss Rodri. Because Rodri be like Partey in the middle of the park, on top of the 18, when you have a player from the back, and he doesn't feel pressure, right? Your CDM cannot feel pressure. So what happens is, if you double team the CDM, you're going to have more options. Either you go, and Rodri will take the ball and beat the first line of defense. That's what you used to do and get to De Bruyne, and you're in trouble because your second line now has to be scrambling. They don't have that luxury anymore. So they struggle big time. People don't understand how big Rodri is for them. And the record before and after when he was injured suggests that he's the main person in that team. The previous message, Villa are 8. Yeah. They're 8 because they've been chop and changing. They sell Diaby. They sold Douglas Luiz. They've been chopping and changing because of PSR. They're going in and out. They're the most active team in this window, and I'll show you in the transfer situation, which is the team is not settled. They don't have any wingers. Well, they have Bailey, but he's not been playing well. They sold Pillagine. We'll get through that, actually. There's a lot there to go through. But yeah, they're 8. Tony says Emery's overrated. I don't know. Emery won a number of Europa League, but won about 3. Did decent at PSG, just like Pochettino did. I don't think he's overrated, actually. I think he's trying something now, which is interesting, which Spanish coaches do, which is he's trying to play without wingers, which I'm not sure is going to work. I think you need speed outside. But we've been playing without wingers for a while, too, given that Saka's been hurt. But anyway, people may say we have 2 wingers, but I don't. Trossard's not a winger, and Martinelli hasn't lifted his head up in the last 2 years, so I don't know. Walker, a big miss. No, he's not. Walker wasn't playing regularly before he left. Walker left to go get playing time at Milan. People keep saying Walker was a big miss. No, he's not. He was a captain, wasn't getting regular playing time because he's lost a step or two. Now in the game, look, we need a center forward, and we haven't got one this window, and I'm not upset, actually. People think he's going to be, I'm not like some fans, I think differently when it comes to these things. You shouldn't spend 60, 50 million pounds for somebody you don't want because you have stopgap. Don't do that. Especially when you're not guaranteed. If we were up in Liverpool situation, I would say, you know what? Make the sacrifice possibly to get us over the line because we need to win. We haven't won a title in 20 years. But where we are, it's only going to be for the Champions League. And that's a crapshoot. I'm not doing that. Wait till the summer. Go get Gokaresh. Go get Sesko. Go get one of those forwards. But don't go burn your money to buy some other player who you don't want. Now, did we think we were going to get Holly Watkins? I'm sure we were giving some encouragement, like what we got for Vardy years ago. when we put what £40 on a dollar, whatever the hell, our pound, £40, 40 plus one, £40 plus one. I didn't get him, which is ridiculous, but that's Wenger. But no, I think we're fine the way we are. We need a striker. Havertz is not the striker I want. Not the striker I want. But the game, so Drew Ross, did you guys enjoy the game when we played City? Because I can't help but gloat now, people. I thoroughly enjoyed the second half and enjoyed the first half. I thought we turned over twice, and Havertz missed a sitter, which most people don't understand how he missed that goal. He didn't hit the target. Yeah, Gokaridge is a striker from Sporting Lisbon, who you guys also want. But as Arteta says, players want to come to Arsenal. Players don't want to go to Man U for the money, because they know they ain't going to play no good football, nor do they sure they're going to be the scapegoat eventually. Yeah, I saw the bit of the Man U news, but there was nothing in that news. I don't. Did the deal get done? Because when I came on, I didn't see the deal, and I was watching Transfer Daily all day. So Drew Ross is saying, don't even think about it. We're going to get to all your comments. Let me finish off this thing. So in the game, look, I think my midfield was purring. Jesus. Don't you guys wish you had my midfield? Declan, who's gotten better than El Neni more recently, and running the show because he has legs to... The legs are important in midfield, people. He has legs. Odegaard, who to me just stop and turn too much sometimes, but he scored a deflected goal, which was good. And he's a really good player when he's on the ball. But Partey, people, Partey. I heard the British media talking about Lewis Kelly, which they should. He's 18. And talking about Declan Rice's man of the match. Which game them a watch? AJFF. Take a video of the Partey game again and go and show other people who play CDM, or you play CDM people. You ever watch somebody football, and you can go into their brain and look at, you know what? Wow. You can see his decision making. Do I pivot? Do I go on the half turn? Should I make a one-time pass? Should I take the ball and turn? Should I dribble? You can see his brain like a computer working. He never just makes the easiest pass sometimes. He's always looking for a more dangerous pass. He'll make the easy pass. The dangerous pass is not there. He was phenomenal. Go watch him play against Man City. It's a lesson how you play midfield, and a lesson you play CDM. And what he also does really well defensively is he will stand the player up and then stretch his long leg and just toe the ball off them to dispossess them. He's a phenomenal footballer. And what's interesting is he's had a contract come the summer. Now I hear this talk about Zubimendi. And Zubimendi may be a good player. I haven't watched Zubimendi a lot. But I feel like cussing. What are we doing as Arsenal? He now is injury free, right? Once in a while, he has a niggle. When he first came to us, injured for like 2 years. Why are we giving him a 2-year contract? What the hell are we doing? Dr. Dan, stop drinking. Whatever, Dr. Dan, it's not good to work 15-hour days. You get confused sometimes, Dr. Dan. Don't know what you're talking about. City had a couple, the header they had, and the shot, Savino shot was deflected that Raya saved. But they didn't get more chance than us. First of all, we should be up 2-0 in the first half. Dr. Dan. 2-0 in the first half because Havertz missed the sitter when he got the empty goal to score and he didn't score. So that would be 2-0. The game would have been over from then. And we scored 5. We said they get more chances than us. Go look at the XG. They didn't get more chances than us, Dr. Dan. Trust me, they didn't. Dr. Dan, what do you mean mistake? That's mistake is part of football. Every football is mistake. What do you mean? Most goals are mistake. I could have said the goal that Haaland scored, Saliba should have done better. It was right there beside him. He got held, but he should have been stronger. Most goals are by somebody make a mistake, as you would not. Games would be 0-0. No, we forced the mistakes. They ain't made no mistake. We forced them and pressured them, turned them over. Rice was physical, running hard. No, we dominated, even though they were better in possession for the first half. No, we're the better team. We're the better team. And we're the best midfield in the Premier League. I love the people dispute that. We're the best midfield in the Premier League. I don't even think that's debatable. Odegaard, Rice, Partey, best midfield in the Premier League. City used to have the best midfield. But you realize De Bruyne looks like he's on his last leg. He's not playing that much. Rodri is out. Silva is not the same. Kovacic is decent. Gundogan is done. So they're a challenge. So yeah, but anyway, I thought we were very good. We won. I would want to see us play Liverpool though, because that's a real test, right? In the Champions League, because Liverpool gonna win the league. If they beat Bournemouth, who was on such a roll, I find it hard in the next 14, 15 game for them to lose 9 points. I don't see that happen. And then Chelsea, West Ham today, and I did watch the game. West Ham is just a strange team. I know that Paqueta, who played the last game against Villa, was out, but it's such a strange team. They always seem to, and Chelsea has a lot of players. They took off Jackson today. I don't know if he was injured or not playing well. They have so many players and so many decent players, and Palmer had that brilliant free kick that was saved. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Nwaneri, Tony, the 37 pass goal. Yeah, we did. Oh yeah, you guys go look at this too. We made 37 pass for the Nwaneri goal, people. And by the way, Lewis Kelly is 18. Nwaneri is 17. They're both from the academy. They both look like long-term starters. You know what I was thinking about when I'm watching them play? I thought about Jamaica has never produced a world-class footballer, ever. And I thought about people with vision, with thought, with ambition, with know-how, would really sit down and strategize about athletically, these kids ain't no more athletic than the kids in Jamaica. So the fundamental, core, basic raw materials are there. So don't you need to learn then how to develop the players to get them to that level? And why can't we do that? Because Jamaica has never produced a world-class midfielder. People would say skill Cole. I like, They probably produce more forwards because we use the athleticism. But you got to teach players how to think. And that's sort of the main thing. But it's amazing that all these other countries can produce these players. Look at Partey, who's from Ghana. And we don't produce any of those players because either we don't have the right tools and ingredients to get them there. But where is the thought process to figure out how to do so? It's just really frustrating. And we've had John Barnes and Sterling, who migrated from Jamaica and became world-class footballers. Some people may say Sterling's not world-class, but very good. Barnes was world-class. Why can't we produce any in the Caribbean? We did have Dwight York and Trinidad, but most of the Caribbean, including Jamaica, don't. And you ask the question, why? Right? Jamaica produces world-class athletes, which is more raw material that you then convert into whatever discipline you want to. But the know-how, the thought, and the ability to really be strategic is just missing. Seriously. Just missing. Missing. Yeah, Myles Kelly, yeah, he does have Jamaican roots as part of his whole, I think they say he has like four different associations, whether St. Lucian, Kitty, and Jamaica, and a bunch of them. But Nwaneri and Myles Kelly are brilliant kids. Look, and here's my problem, Tony, because you're an Arsenal fan just like me, and also Eddie Gooner. Arteta had a chance to buy a striker when he paid £68 million for Havertz. He also had another chance to buy a striker when he went out last year and bought Calafiori for about 40 mil. He could have put 20 million in and go get a striker. I don't know. I don't understand that. And here's another point too. People are giving Arteta so much credit for Nwaneri and for Lewis Kelly. And yeah, he deserves some credit. But it's not like he was strategic in getting those kids in the team. Let's be honest. Nwaneri forced his hand because when he was 15, everybody wanted him. So you had to make him the youngest player in the Premier League ever. Give him a couple of minutes so he can feel good. Convince him to stay. Right? That's like Man City did with Foden. Sancho and Palmer weren't having it. And then with Lewis Kelly, he was bare bones. He was down. No, Timber is out. Calafiori is out. Tomiyasu is out. Ben White is out. He had no choice but to go play somebody back there. Right? So it's not like he was strategic and say, you know what, I'm going to just blend this kid in the team. Eventually, almost like metamorphosis happened. But I ain't going to say he's so well supported of young players. No, he's not. I'm not buying that nonsense. It happens, and now he's there. You can't get him out of the team because Nwaneri keeps scoring goals, so he has to play. He should be playing over Trossard, right, basically. There is no doubt in my mind he should be playing over Trossard. And then Lewis Kelly is just a brilliant footballer. And he's a midfielder playing left back. And he's keeping Calafiori at the team, who's an Italian international. So you know Lewis Kelly going to play for England next time around, right? You know there's no doubt he get drafted into the England team. Both he and even Nwaneri may get drafted because they want to make sure they cap them so they don't go to some other country. No, I don't think. No, Tony. No, Tony. No, Tony. You're not getting away with that, Tony. He ain't making you leave for no Enwaneri, right? I think what happened was Smith Rowe pushed the deal because he wants to play, and he couldn't get any game. Now, people may say that's the case, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. Now, I'm sure Enwaneri is balling out in practice because you can see the kid just has natural ability. But that's why Hutchinson left, because he wasn't getting game time. I'm sure that's why Martin went to Man U. All these players who go to other clubs that we develop and are going to be very good players, because they don't trust Arteta and make a decision in terms of kids. Because remember, for like 3-4 years, there were no kids coming to the team. These kids are different. And maybe Quimo said they're not good enough, but these kids are different. So Jura said, Cranker, pull the brakes. The verdict's still out on the two youngsters. Well, I don't know who's your jury. I don't know who your judge is. Our jury is Drew Ross. We don't have anything out. It's in. You see the pose that he did after he scored against Man City? There's no jury or out. No verdict's not out. They're brilliant kids. Is the jury out on Mano, Drew Ross? And Mano ain't better than one of these kids. Mano is in the England team. Enwaneri to me, it's going to be a brilliant. Enwaneri to me, I'll make this comment right now. What's this? February 3rd? He's going to be a world-class footballer. Not totally sure about Lewis Kelly. When people say Lewis Kelly is better than Enwaneri, I don't think so. I think Enwaneri left foot is lethal, people. See like how Saka left foot can be very good? See like how Salah's left foot is lethal? That's Enwaneri's left foot. That's about 3 or 4 goals I've seen him score. What, he's got about 7 goals this season? But in the far corner from the left side, and he dribbles really well too. He's going to be a brilliant footballer. World-class footballer, no doubt. Nah, Kobe ain't better than them. Kobe has had more game time than them. Kobe ain't better than them. Trust me. Kobe's not better than them. By the way, Lewis Kelly is a midfielder playing left back. He's a CDM playing left back. Okay? Just remember that. No, Conrad. Some people have vision and some people don't. Some have a good night. Kobe may know better than them. He's not better than, I'm telling you. First of all, you know something, Juras? Kobe may have played midfield. Enwaneri played midfield. I bet Enwaneri's stats are better than Mano this year. Mano has much more game time. And Kobe's stats and Enwaneri's stats. No, people may say he's playing a better team. That's not the issue. I'm telling you, these kids are ridiculously good, especially Enwaneri. People saying Lewis Kelly's better. I don't think so. I don't think Lewis Kelly's better. I think Enwaneri is better. But we can always debate that. But I think I don't know why Drew Ross is even hey Drew Ross. Any team where you know what, Drew Ross? I'm gonna show you something. This is the table, Drew Ross. Where's Man U? I'm looking for them. McKenna said, good up my glass. Let me see Man U. Man U is in 13th position. I'm not talking to you if you're at the top 6 or the top 8. I'm not talking to you. People, I cannot argue with you because you are having an ambition. You're supporting a team that supposedly have all these good players. The Lit is international. Kobe's an international. Ferdinand is an international. Hoyland is an international. You have all international in your team. Are you in 13th place in the Premier League? Brentford above you, Crystal Palace above you. You're not good. So you talk about why Kobe Many carrying you on their back? Yeah? I don't understand. Yeah, we're losing the league, but at least we have potential. Hey, Juras. I'm surprised Man U fans are still showing their faces. Seriously. If I was Man U fans, I would not tell anybody I'm a Man U fan. Okay? I wouldn't tell anybody I'm a Man U fan. And Dr. Don keep blaming the coach. What do you mean, Rich Toy? This is the worst year Man U has had, and we still have one more trophies than Arsenal. Yeah. You want trophies that we don't care about. We don't care about them trophies. We don't care about those trophies. We care about being relevant, and you're not relevant. By the way, we're closing on you in the money tables. We are closing on you in the money tables. People, money tables is important enough, people. That's why Real Madrid can't keep buying all these best players, Money tables, the money table is really important. And at one point, Man U was so far ahead of every other team in England, actually, way ahead. That's why they could dominate, because they could always buy the best players. And then when Abramovich joined, that's had a change, right? When Abramovich joined, that's had a change, and it's only gotten worse. So if you're here, I was trying to do something here. I can't find this. I was trying to post something. I'm telling you, it's gonna be interesting, actually. See if we can post this up. But yeah, maybe I can show this. No, can't show it. I want to show something. The money tables are important, people. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. And unfortunately, for Man U, they spend all their money on wages. They're paying Casemiro what, 300? Rashford 300. You just keep giving away money. I feel like I'm laughing at that African guy who they always use in memes to laugh at different things when he's laughing at Harry Maguire. Joe Ross, we're happy because we're relevant. All right? So, Joe Ross, I have a question for you. Would you prefer to be in my position? Would you prefer to be do you prefer to be where you are? You have won 2 trophies in the last 2 years, or where Arsenal resides? Please give the audience your honest opinion. I'm waiting. Yeah, Dr. Dan, but Dr. Dan, the coach just come. You can't just fire the coach. Yeah, I'm a Man U fan. Is this a Man U fan? Good evening. Good evening. Who is speaking? Who's this?
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
You remember what he said to Chris Rock at the Oscars award?
What did he say to Chris Rock?
Go on YouTube and find out. But keep United name out your mouth. But
that's when he slapped Chris Rock. Oh, yeah. He did say that, didn't he?
Struggles, cranky, you know.
Struggles. It looks so. Not struggle, yes. I'm struggling for a while too.
Yeah, but the game against Palace over the weekend, it's a really poor game by United. Andrew Onana, once again, I believe he was poor in that game, right? But I want to talk about Arsenal. Now, I do banter Arsenal a lot, right? But I do have to commend them in the sense that at the period in time when Odegaard was injured, Arsenal did drop a couple points, right? And I commend them on the fact that since Saka has been out, I think Arteta has found a way, despite not bringing anybody in that's new, he has found a way to get more out of this team to get results despite the best player for Arsenal being out. Because, we've seen in history where, the best player for the team is out for a sustained period of time and the team kind of loses their way. And I think in these last couple of games that I've watched Arsenal, and I think the greatest thing that they've shown is character. And go back to the game against was it against Wolves?
Can't recall.
Where Lewis Skelly got the red card.
Yes,
Wolves. I think that game and the fight that I saw with Arsenal, it's commendable because I've seen them in previous games in which they've went down to 10 men, and despite them, okay, they don't have the numerical advantage, but they have better quality players, but yet still they don't really get the 3 points or get a result from the game. And I've seen Liverpool and City over the years, they've gotten the red cards and whatever the case is, and they seen that they're the better team in terms of having better quality players. They use that to their advantage to still get the 3 points that is important. So I think I have to comment Arsenal. Some people have to say that City did play better than Arsenal, but at the end of the day, 5-1 cranky.
Wait. What does play better mean? Does play better mean that I have more possession, which we saw with Nottingham Forest and Brighton, where Nottingham Forest had 37% possession and won 7-0? So what does play better mean? I don't understand what play better. You mean I look more pleasing in the eyes? I had more possession of the ball. What does play better mean? Because we were effective when we had the ball.
Yeah, I guess in modern day football, some people consider playing better as having more possession of the football.
Right.
But for me, I think playing better is being effective in those crucial moments. I mean, you'll have periods in the game in which you make mistakes and there's no chemistry in terms of some of the plays. However, the most important thing is to score goals. You know what I'm saying? And if you can be effective in that department while being tied in every other department, then I think you're the better team. And I think Arsenal scoring 5 goals against the City. Yes, it's a poor City team, but still, 5 goals, cranky. There's no argument to say that City played better, whether they want to have more possession or whatever the case is, or them dominate the game for 30 minutes, or nobody would have thought that Arsenal would have scored 5. And I think it's a statement for Arsenal as well. And a couple of weeks ago, everybody was saying, Liverpool is going to win the title. I think, yes, they do have a game in hand, but I mean, the Premier is unpredictable. We all know that, And I know that Arsenal didn't bring a new player in the transfer window, but I still think that they have something to play for in terms of the Premier. You never know what will happen. What if Liverpool loses Mohamed Salah? Not that I want him to get injured, right? Not going to wish nobody I'm not going to wish an injury on anyone, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
These things do happen. So I do commend Arsenal for the win over the weekend.
So I hear Drew Ross saying, Crank, it's amazing how your play better analogy doesn't apply to a national team. That's not true. I have talked about ineffective possession versus effective possession. I believe in possession football. Arsenal is a possession team. But I criticize when we played against Cuba, where we dominated possession and had no output. So it doesn't make sense you dominate possession and you don't have any output or productivity. So if you barrage the goal with shots and the keeper made brilliant saves, and you may lose, yeah, but you can't get 5 and say you play better. I don't know what play better means, because the other team just waiting for you, like Spurs used to do, counterattack you and punish you each time you lose the ball. So you can have possession, but it's ineffective. You got to be effective with your possession. And in that night, they were missing a lot of chances. So go ahead.
In terms of United, right? I don't really talk much about the game. I'm just happy that Rashford is gone.
Wow. You know you're going to eat those words, right?
Why?
Because he's going to score for Villa.
Let me ask this question. Mm-hmm. Since Sancho has left United, has he been the Sancho of Borussia Dortmund that we purchased at the time?
No, he hasn't played us with a Dortmund, nor has he played us. No. But he played with for Dortmund when he went there the first time and the second time.
Yeah, but even the second time for the 5 or 6 months, right? He had the Champions League run, and everybody was like, oh, they're going to go to the final and they're going to win the Champions League, and United, they're going to eat their words. But even when Sancho went back to Dortmund, they had issues with Jadon Sancho in terms of some of his performances, right? So Jadon Sancho going to Chelsea, no. He's not putting up any trees, so it's not affecting United fans, and we're going to get money for him as well. In terms of Rashford, Cranky, Rashford for me, he's a good player, right? I don't think he's the player that many people make him out to be, and I'm not saying that he's not going to be effective for Aston Villa, because I feel like once you have a happy Rashford, and he's focused as well, he will add something to any team. However, I think he has lost his way, right? And I think that he's too easily distracted. And in terms of the player that he is, over the years, he hasn't really improved. And United, for me, we do not owe Rashford anything. Rashford owes United, because we made Rashford out to what he is now. We gave Rashford that platform, Cranky. And he has had good seasons.
I disagree with you.
But we made him the poster boy of United.
No, I understand that. But you weren't doing Rashford any favor. You're doing yourself a favor.
Oh,
no, because you want to have the best asset to give you a chance to win, to generate income. You ain't doing it because you love Rashford. You're doing it because it works for you. So Rashford produced on the field, which makes you look good, and you pay him well. It's a trade. I play well, you pay me. That's it.
Well, we have people are in the club good for a long time, so they have been bamboozled into thinking that he's the guy, right? In which he's not. Over £300,000 a week. And he comes up with these sentimental interviews and all these type of stuff. It doesn't add up for me, Cranky. You know what I'm saying? So, and his attitude as well. It's not good. But again, he wanted to get a new challenge, and he's at Aston Villa now. I do wish him the best, though. I don't wish any bad on him. But that's just my thoughts on this.
No, he's a good player, and Arsenal knows this because he scores against us quite a bit, actually. And he scores very good goals from 25, 30 yards, or scores in the box. Left foot, right foot, quick, skillful. Unai Emery, who's been playing without wingers, because Bailey has been playing well. He got rid of Philogene. He got rid of Diaby. He's been playing McGinn and Ramsey and Marcus Rogers almost like wingers. Rogers plays a hybrid role. He's going to put Marcus on the left. He's going to have Rogers play this hybrid right. and he's going to have Ollie Watkins up front. Watkins may be out for a little while. That's going to be his team.
Yeah.
He may even put
But
Rashford in the middle because now Watkins may not be able to play. Yeah, go ahead.
This deal did not happen, but Leon Bailey was linked to United, right? And Fabrizio Romano did state that United actually did call Aston Villa to inquire about Bailey.
Right.
Thoughts on Bailey to United, if it had happened, do you think it would have been a good move for him? Whether it's a loan or not, whether it was a loan or permanent move?
Hell no. Not just no, but hell no. Who wants to go into a mess? And when you're not playing well, and you go into a mess.
We're not talking about the mess aspect. We're talking about
but you can't get rid of the mess. The mess is the mess. You're gonna play. Where's he gonna play? In a when they're playing a 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, whatever they're playing. Where's he gonna play? One of the wings where he has to do all this hard work that he struggles with. Huh? When they can't defend, so you gotta defend your life. And when he misses a goal, Man U fans lose their mind because they're much more taxing than Villa fans. I don't think so. And the scrutiny is much worse. He needs to recover his game at Villa before you think about going anyplace else. Yeah. Man U is not players go to Man U and fail. Very good. Look at Varane from way back when. Very good player go to Man U and crumble with that pressure. That pressure is brutal. I wouldn't suggest he goes there. You can hide at Villa. You can't hide. Nowadays it's hard to hide at Villa because they're up there. Yeah, no, he should not go to Man U. When I hear that link, I'm like, uh-oh. If he can't right now, he can't get to the Villa team. He's on the bench when they have no wingers. He's on the bench and they have no wingers. Maybe
the competition will help him out because I think his best season with Villa was under competition in terms of when Diallo was there. But my last question before I leave, Shamar Nicholson to the club in Mexico, Club Tijuana, I think it's pronounced. Any thoughts on that move?
He's closer to home.
Yeah,
so he's close to home, right? He's closer to home. That can be good or bad. Look, the Mexican league is a very popular league. La Mexa is a very popular league, but the team's going to play for us almost at the bottom of the league, isn't it? So is that a really good move? I don't know. I think he probably should try to get MLS. That's my opinion. Because MLS is becoming much more prominent, much more popular, much more known. See them doing really good deals. Look at people like Duran, Amarin, all these players who go to England to play in the Premier League. They're not going to play some of the league which are not at the top. He should come. MLS's standard is getting higher because they brought in a lot of South American, Latin American players and players from all over. He should try to get to MLS.
Yeah, he's 27, so maybe, I don't know the length of this contract, but, let's see what the future holds for him. But, I mean, as I said before, it's an important year for the Reggae Boys players, or Reggae Boys in general. So we need players to be playing. And I saw that Lembikisa got a move to Barnsley. So, once the players are playing, then that will definitely.
Well, it's a problem for the Reggae Boys, and here it's a Reggae Boy. This is not. It's a bad year. Last year was a good year. Not last year. We played Gold Cup year was a good year. Not last year because everybody was so on form. Everybody playing well. You think about the team now, especially the front line. So Nicholson just moved, which means things are not going as well as you'd like. Antonio's out. Bailey not playing well. We don't know what the hell Gray's doing. We haven't gotten Greenwood stuff yet. There is so much unsettled. Things are so unsettled, especially in your front line. It's not a good thing. And those people need to score your goals.
And other than Mason Greenwood, right? I mean, I've heard that the younger players like the Covers and the Sprats and all these guys, honestly, Cranky, I think it's full time we give them a look in because I cannot really see, realistically speaking, right now, any new players that we can bring in right now in terms of that are like senior players that will add straight away to the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, here's the problem you have, 432. Here's the problem you have. And this sounds really bad, me saying this, but I've been saying this from day one. I ain't changing now. You need people with vision who are making decisions. You need people with vision who are making decisions. And if that's not happening, you're going to struggle as a country across the board, by the way. And your football is just an indication of that. You need people with vision to make decisions and make decisions in the best interest of the country and the best decisions, not decisions in the best interest of themselves. Until you do that, you're going to struggle. So we're going to be struggling.
All right. Talk to me at the end of the season when I have my trophy.
What trophy? We're talking about?
FA Cup or Europa League.
Oh, you're going to win something with this team.
Just like last season.
So what about Champions League? Oh, I forgot you're not in it. It's big people league. Okay. All right.
You
What
shouldn't
about
be
Premier?
talking
Wait,
about,
wait,
you shouldn't be talking about that competition.
wait. What about Premier League? Oh, you're not in it. You know, all the big leagues. So you want to water down. I don't see Drew. I was talking about. We're not Drew. Saying when Europa. We're not Drew. Saying when Europa League. And not talk about Europa League. It's not important to him.
Right? We're in the Premier League. However, if we were in the position of Arsenal, we would have been in it to win it, not in it to just compete and finish second, but in it to win. And that's the difference in mentality between Arsenal and United. But wait,
don't go yet. You're in the Premier League, right?
Yes.
Are you in it to win it?
No, but if we're in the position of Arsenal, we would have won it and we would have won it.
I wonder when you're gonna be in that position. Hey, the way your team is constructed, you bought. Wait. Hey, did you look at your numbers? I looked at your numbers this weekend. Yarrow, DeLitt, Maguire. Your whole defense line is probably more expensive than my entire line combined. You know, each of your center back probably costs more than Saliba and Gabriel combined. You know that, right?
I agree. But
each of them, none of them are good like them. All three of them made together, putting that one, no good like anyone in center back. You guys bought poorly, and then you give them a lot of money as wages, and then you struggle. You're gonna be.
Let me tell you this.
Poor management.
I do not think that over the years, I guess you could say that United, they've bought poorly in the sense that the players do not fit the system. So they're poor decisions, right? But in terms of the quality of the players at the time when you purchased them, I don't think they were poor players. Or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because many other clubs would have wanted those players. I just think that due to the lack of vision and the system not being there, we've kind of purchased players poorly in that sense, in terms of them not fitting the system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for the call. Yeah. So the under 17 girls, you guys know I don't follow up a lot with junior team because they have the quota system. But let me just say this, because even nowadays the girls have quota. They fired the under 17 girls coach because he wanted to bring in people. These are things I'm telling you which are factual. So if anybody from any organization tells you anything different, that's not true. They didn't renew. Okay, let's not say fired, because fired is a bad word. They didn't renew the contract for the under 17 girls. I think it was in the under 17 girls, because was it under 17 or under 20? Maybe I'm getting them confused. Because the person wanted to bring in more foreign-born players, because he said local players are not good enough, and then a renewing contract. Just like they didn't renew the contract for Lauren Donaldson. And I've preached this before, that when you have 5 coaches who have left your national team and none have been fired for performance, you're looking at the wrong people. Can you guys recall any organization in the world, period, in any discipline, any sport, where 5 coaches for different levels in the organization have left the organization and none of them for performance reasons? I don't think you guys grasp what that means, I'm not sure people really digest what that means. 5 people left the organization who were coaching your team, all doing well, all left for other than non-performance reasons. And it wasn't like they did something like like sexual assault or something, right? They don't have no egregious bad behavior that they did that causes that. There's only one theme there. One theme. I ain't the coaches. Buenas noches. Buenas tardes.
Oh man, cranky. French. You speak Spanish now.
I have 2 words. Buenas tardes. How you doing? Good night.
Good night. I just want to elaborate a little bit on what Pressure was talking about, and a little bit of the Man City game this weekend. When I was back and forth in the group chat. But I do want to say this, Cranky. I know you were saying I'm blaming the coach. I don't think I'm necessarily blaming the coach, right? But I say this, right? I think a good manager should be able to improve their player as well as manage. So you have a coach, you have a manager. Those are 2 different things, You have, like, for instance, people used to say that Arsene Wenger was a manager, right? Because he manages the budget, he manages the team, and he coaches, right? Like, let's use Pep Guardiola as an example. Do you remember when Sterling came to City? All he was doing was a speedster, running everywhere and just skyrocketing the ball. Sterling left Man City a well-rounded player to where, like, you can anywhere Sterling can use both feet and a complete player, right? I believe a couple of seasons ago, he was literally the best player in the World Cup for England at Euros. So I think for me is I know, like, people are, I think they scapegoating Rashford. Remember last year they were saying, oh, Casemiro is the next thing, saying sliced bread because he came, he started playing good, and then boom. Anytime you're the biggest earner, anytime you're the biggest man on the tree, they're gonna cut you down because they want to get you off the books. That's exactly what they want to do. Rashford's making what, 350? They want to get him off the books. I don't see anybody on that team that's better than Rashford or Jadon Sancho skill wise. They may say they're lazy, whatever, but who they're gonna have? Garnacho, who runs down the wing like a headless chicken and can't do anything with the ball. I'm saying the one person who's playing consistently good this year is Amad Diallo, which at some point is gonna tank out because they're gonna burn him out and gonna play every game because they don't have anybody else. So to me, I think part of it is and listen to the coach interviews. Oh, Rashford should do this in practice. I mean, come on, like the thing is, me personally, I don't think a lot of those things he's saying is accurate. But I also in football these days, I listen to a lot of ex-players, the punditry. Like they have this culture in football where it's like slavery mentality, like, oh, if a player don't do this, he's not a good player. If a player don't do this, he's not a good player. That's what all the old players does. Just like you know what I mean? Things has changed, culture has changed. You don't have to be like acting like football back in the 60s and 70s. Not the same. And I mean, and players now is faster and stronger anyways. All these players who played in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, they couldn't even get along now. They couldn't survive now. So I actually think Rashford is a good player. He can use both feet. He's fast. He's skillful. I don't see anybody in Man U team better than Rashford. But let's see. As a Man U fan, we're going to continue to lose because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
So do you think that they should have got rid of Rashford? Okay, Villa has an option to buy him for 40 mil.
I don't think they should have gotten rid of Rashford. Like I said, they use him as a scapegoat. 2 years ago, Rashford, and I said this on one of the platforms, JD's platform. Rashford has an amazing season that year. That's why he got that increase in salary. He's not consistent, I get that, but he's also better than what we have.
He is better than what you have. Yes, I would agree with that. He's better than what you have. I mean, none of your forwards make anybody concerned,
Nobody. They went and got this young boy, the 21-year-old guy who can't even hold up the ball to save his life. Like you can't do anything.
Xerxes, he's a halfway decent player, but he's not. Not
Xerxes, the other one.
Højlund, they got him from, but he was raw when they got him, right? They bought him from Italy for like 60-something mil. He was raw when they got him, and he's still raw. Ain't gonna be raw for a while.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like practice and training is closed door, right?
Yeah.
Frankie, if you go and ask players right now, is Rashford is training properly? I saw Drew actually saying that, right? We don't even know for sure. I'm telling you, I've seen interviews with coaches where coaches actually, upper management say, yo, we need to get him off the books. We need to get him off the books. Especially if you don't have a good season, they're going to do whatever they have to push you out the door. Isn't that what they did to Jadon Sancho? Push him out the door. Look at him now, playing good at Chelsea. And they push him out. Some of these coaches are very like they just have an attitude where it's my way or the highway. So if you question any coach, it doesn't matter how good you are, they get you at the club because they said no player is bigger than the coach or the club. That's what it is.
Yeah, it happens, right? So Arsenal went through that for a while. People seem to forget that Arteta got rid of almost the entire team. I can't recall anybody who's in this team right now who was there. Think about the entire team. Maybe Martinelli, Saka, but Trossard, Havertz, the entire midfield, the entire back line because Saliba was out on loan, all came in on Arteta and Raya. So they almost, in 5 years, they got rid of the entire team, right? To me, that's not necessarily normal. You probably have players here 5, 6, 7 years, especially in England, especially locally groomed players. So, but you guys the problem is you bought poorly. You bought Martinez, who we wanted actually. You bought Xerxes, you bought Højlund, you bought De Ligt, you bought Casemiro, and you can't give them away.
So to Drew's question, I don't believe the coach, but Cranky, you remember how when Pep Guardiola came to Man City and got rid of everybody? What's the Ivorian midfielder name again? I forgot his name. He's one of the best midfielders I've seen in the Premier League. What's his name? The Ivorian one.
Ivorian? You mean Partey? No,
that Ivorian midfielder that played at City when Pep Guardiola came and got rid of everybody.
You're talking about
Yaya Toure. One of the best midfielder. He said he never had no issue with Pep. Same things Zlatan said. And Pep just clean house. Sometimes it's the bigger name to set an example what these coaches does. And Marcus Rashford making the most supposed to be the bigger head on the team, because if you make an example, everybody's gonna fall in line like a Joe sword. That's usually how it is. But I don't see how Manu's not gonna improve. Manu's not gonna do anything. You know what's gonna happen, Cranky? We're gonna win 1 or 2 games and then boom, lose 2-3 games in a row. That's it. I watched this point just saying the Glazers give money in the club. The problem is, though, you have several, since Ferguson left, there's like 6 coaches. So you're going to have different players each coach going to bring in. So you're going to end up having all these players that doesn't fit the system.
Great point.
Exactly
Great point. People don't realize that every coach want their own player. And the problem you have is you buy them high, you pay them high. Other clubs can't afford their wages, so you can't get rid of them.
That's exactly what's going on. Because listen, De Ligt is not a bad player. De Ligt was one of the most wanted players in a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but I'm gonna come back at you, Dr. Don. He went from Holland to Juventus to Bayern, and then they sold him to Man U. Something's wrong with the player.
Well, sorry. I mean, also there can be because asset, right? A player young enough, good enough, wanted to use it as an asset. Because at the end of the day, a lot of it is the bottom line. But the thing what I'm trying to say is a lot of these managers, you cannot question them at all. If you question them, that's it. Like, you're gone, right? Again, Jadon Sanchez refused to apologize, and I'm happy he did not apologize because these coaches, they have their head up, they think they're the best out of everything. I'm happy he didn't do that. And I also think that I've seen people say, even Gary Neville said he'd never known of Marcus Rashford as someone not to train. You know what I mean? So it's like a coach comes in, now they want to push Cashmere out the door because he also make over $300,000. That's just how they are. And I'm a Man U fan. And to be perfectly fine, I not like the coach. I think Man U need to just rebuild. Period. Get somebody. Get like a top coach. To me, I like when Mourinho was there. I like how he ruled with iron fist. I like that. But he used Pogba as a scapegoat that got rid of him.
Yep.
So that's just it's always like this. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't see whose Man U team gonna be better. Because like Garnacho, the so-called young one coming through, every time he frustrates me so much. He get the ball, he run in the corner flag, try to attack and lose the ball, and like a headless chicken. You know what I mean? That's it. The midfield, I don't know what's going on. Yaro, that young French guy, all these guys, they do all that stuff. Even Martinez, he's a terrible player. He plays with too much he plays all these aggression. That's not how you play the game. That's not how you play. You know what I mean? You know who played with aggression that was really good? Pepe played like that, but he could play. Play like that. The other Real Madrid center back, Sergio Ramos, can play the ball, understand the game. This guy just comes in, boom, doesn't know what to do. That's why he's always getting injured. And he's like 5 foot nothing. You know what I mean? This stuff pisses me off. Every time I watch the game, I'm screaming at work. I have to turn off the TV.
And I love that, right? I love Man U fans being frustrated. That means Man U is not playing. I love Man U fans are frustrated. And people in England can't get over the fact that Man U is not Man U anymore. Man U is like Xerox, people. They have these big companies who have done really, really well over time, and they have lost their luster, but people still think that they're great because it's in their psyche. They're not great anymore. If you look at the money tables, Man U was always up there with Real Madrid, sometimes number 1, sometimes number 2. They're still up there, but you can see people are catching up, right? Because if you're not winning, because winning breeds fans, breeds income. That's what winning does. Look at Man City, even though they probably pay themselves a lot of money that they say they have. But look at Man City's in the money league table. Look at Arsenal in the money league table. Even though I hear from people that we don't win anything, but we are competitive. And when you're competitive, you're going to have fans. And fans going to buy your merchandise. And sponsors going to be with you because sponsors want clubs who are up there. Don't be associated with clubs who are having a lot of problems. So Man U has issues. Stop paying people £300,000 because they can walk. Let them walk first and talk. Then you pay them. One second. I think go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't understand why people complain about money. If you don't have money, you cannot get any players. And if you don't have good players, you cannot compete. Money is what runs the game right now. And Drew Ross, Rooney hates anything Man United. Rooney hates on Ronaldo from head to toe. So I don't listen to Rooney. Rooney's 39 years old. He looks like he's 50. You know what I mean? So the thing is, like, it's just some of these things, like, I have to I question a lot of these things, you know. So to me, I think the coach needs to do a better job. I think he actually needs to improve his players. I do see a pattern. I see what they're trying to do, but it's just like I need some consistency. You know what I mean? They're gonna lose. They're gonna win 2-3 games, and they're gonna lose. Man U is not gonna win the Europa Cup. I don't care what anybody says. There's so many other better teams than them in the Europa Cup that's gonna beat them. Man U's not winning the Europa Cup if they don't improve. I don't know where pressure.
Yeah, but the difference with Europe this year is, which is lucky for Man U and all the teams in it, including Tottenham, is that in previous years, the people who fall out the Champions League would fall into Europa League. They normally win it, actually. This year, that's not the case, right? You fall out the Champions League, you're just done. So Europa League is only teams who are in the Europa League. So they have a better chance to win. They have a chance to win it like everybody else. But even if they win it, they still have problems. It's not going to fix their ills. So they won trophies the last 2 years, as Drew Ross and 43 are saying, and all happy. Yet you're complaining. You're
no. I mean, but Cranky, that's what I'm saying. This is the level that Man U is now as a so-called the biggest team, right? So you have Drew Ross who's defending every little thing like 3 months. I'm telling you, a big team, when you come to a big club, you come there to win. There's no way Man U is investing in the coach 3 months. I have not seen. Listen, when Ten Hag was there the first 3 months, he actually was in a better position than our homeboy is right now. So what are you saying? So that's it's like you have to be able to present yourself, present something that can say, okay, what's this? I'm telling you, if he starts losing, the fans gonna get on him. I know he needs.
So don't you think that he's guaranteed to be there at least a year and a half? So maybe what he's doing is just blowing it all up to show that he needs money, but he's trying to get money that they don't have. People don't realize. Man U is so your wages can't be such a percentage of your generated income that you generate. That's their problem. The wage bill is too high, right? A lot of teams don't manage their wage bill well. Wage is too high. So when you have all those wages and it cuts into your numbers that you have, PSR kicks in, you can't go and buy players.
Well, they're increasing ticket price, so let's see.
Yeah, but match day revenue is not enough to supplement that. It's just not. Even if they increase ticket prices, it's not enough to supplement the income enough so you can go buy £100 million player. You spend too much money on nonsense. You can't sell Anthony. You can't sell Casemiro. You can't sell De Ligt. You probably can't. You can sell them for 2 cents on the dollar. You can sell them in a fire sale, but you're gonna make the money you need to replenish it, and they're on your books. And by the way, you're amortizing those players. So they have a 5-year contract. If Casemiro is 70 million, it's about 14 million pounds a year that goes against your expenses, that reduce your income that you can use to go buy players. It's one day we're gonna watch with PSR and explain that, so we begin to understand why people like Man U struggle. If I can get the numbers, I'm gonna watch the numbers to show people why they struggle to go buy players in these windows. Look at Newcastle. Newcastle can't buy anything, and they're the richest club in the EPL.
But they have, but that's what I'm saying. But they have, you could see Newcastle. Okay, Cranky. If you look at Newcastle team, right, go man for man on their team and see if Man U team on paper compared to Newcastle team on paper, who is better, right? And you can see you can compete with them both. I think the only person Newcastle team that Man U isn't better than is Isaac. Look at Joe Linton. Joe Linton came as a striker, couldn't even do nothing. They convert this man to a defender, a defensive midfielder, and he's unbenchable. You cannot drop him, right?
Yeah.
And so these are like example. I'm trying to say a coach, regardless, like you have a system, yes, but you develop your players to play in that system or something. You know what I mean? But that's what it is. And to me, people are just making these excuses. I get it. The time is important, yes. But show, like, the games that Man U won, Cranky, is off the strength of the team is not as good enough to them, or the team will make a mistake. Like, just, you know what I mean, like this. I haven't seen Man U dominate the game. I'm like, oh, man, like, yo, this is Man U. I've not seen that.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Ross is defending his coach and his team very hard. But I said it's Drew Ross. I understand what you're saying, and it's still early for Amorim, but he's not impressed in his early tenure. There's some coaches who come in and they're impressed right away. Either they say, you know what, I'm going to blow this up. Like when Arteta first came in, he impressed. Then he went downhill for a while. We were 8th. But then he probably told management, look, I got to get rid of all these players. So you got to be patient with me. He almost got fired. If Smith Rowe and Eddie Nketiah and Saka didn't destroy Chelsea at one point and we got some relief of all the pressure, he probably would have been fired by now, which would have been a mistake on Arsenal's part. So Amorim has some leeway. He's probably going to be there for a year and a half. But if next year come this time, he's in the same place that he's in, he's gone.
Fired. And that's going to be the happen. It's going to be a circle because now they fire him. They're going to have to bring in another coach who's going to want the other player. So which is going to be an issue. And then Drew Rush is saying look what he did at Sporting. So did Ten Hag did well in
let me say this, people, because we keep getting these analogies. It's like the JFF saying, look at the under 14 won in Caribbean. Levels. I keep telling people this. Levels. There are levels to this thing. Under 14 in the Caribbean is not the same as CONCACAF. Sporting Lisbon in Portugal or Syria or Ten Hag in the Eredivisie, it's not the Premier League. Very unforgiving. Best players, most money. Scrutiny is 10 times higher than any place else. You don't produce right away. What did what's his name get from West Ham? He got 7 months at Chelsea, 6 months at Chelsea, and he was great at Brighton. He got fired, right? People don't have patience. They don't have patience.
Look at the now United States coach. He had experience in the English league. He went to Chelsea. Boom, got rid of them. It's tough. It's tough. But Cranky, I'm gonna let somebody else call in. But
all right, sir. Thanks for the call.
Man. Understand that.
Ross is the Man U guru. He's the guru of mediocrity.
I get it.
The guru of mediocrity. So they're mediocre.
There are some people like that. There are some people like that. Drew Rush, answer this question: who at Man U is better than Rashford right now? And let's see what's going to happen when Rashford's going. If Man U going to so-called play, because he hasn't been playing anyways. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. You know what happened, Drew Ross? Here's what happens, people. And this happens a lot of time with people. Most organizations have people who get preferential treatment. Most organizations. Don't make people tell you anything different. Most organizations have people get preferential treatment. Allen Iverson for the Philadelphia 76ers get preferential treatment. Probably didn't have to practice. That's why you see him come and say, practice. I produce in the games, right? I'm sure Arsenal with Aubameyang used to get preferential treatment. It only works until you start producing. And then the preferential treatment goes out the door, which is what happened to Aubameyang at Arsenal and Arteta. Because Arteta begged him to sign a $250,000 a week contract when he was scoring goals like crazy. And as soon as he stopped scoring, he got rid of him. So Rashford probably used to get preferential treatment because he was producing, scored 30 goals in one season, playing on the wing, not playing center forward. He's not producing as he used to, and people looking for scapegoat, he's been made a scapegoat. Now, he created some of that for himself, going to Ireland, go party, being involved in other organizations outside of work. Maybe not. But you can't say, well, Sancho doesn't train well, or Rashford doesn't train well. Do they produce in the games? I agree with Rashford, with the thing about Rashford, which is he doesn't defend as well as he should. That's why you see Martinelli always playing for Arsenal. Because Martinelli is going to run all day. And coaches love players who run all day. They just do. They love players who run all day and who are going to defend, because in the Premier League, if you don't defend, you're in trouble. That's why you see PSG couldn't win anything with the three great players up front. You know, Messi was past his prime because Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe don't play defense. They're all looking at each other like, I ain't doing that. I'm bigger than that. You can't defend with 8 people. So Rashford needs to do better defensively, but I'm sure he has a point to prove, and I'm sure he'll prove that point. Let me just go through this transfer thing quickly, people. Now look at this. So quickly, I'm going to go through this quickly before I close the showdown. The showdown, I should say. So Arsenal, nobody in. We sent about 3 people out, but they're no name people who want to spend time. Look at Aston Villa, people. Crazy. Look at Aston Villa. Crazy. They brought in, could we call someone from loan? Marlin. Was it Marlin at Arsenal one time? I'm almost sure he was. He was doing well, though, at Dortmund. He was in Eredivisie before. Garcia from Levante came in. Rashford, obviously. And then they brought Asensio, who couldn't get a game at PSG, but who was very good previously. And then they sold some players. They've been selling and buying like they're just traders. Duran went for 64 mil. We talked about Duran early in the program. They brought a player from loan. Set a player out on loan. Then they had Philogene, who they just bought the other day, didn't he? He'd come in supposed to challenge Bailey. Yeah, they sold him. I guess it doesn't work for Emery. Diego Carlos, who they also brought in from Spain, they sold him for little or nothing. Mings came in. Mings got injured. because he had an ACL injury before. He had taken Torres' place. So defensively they're struggling, right? Kanza is there, but defensively they're struggling. But they look at their numbers and look at our numbers. We brought no one in. We have 3 people go out. They brought in, well, they have 5 people come in, number of them loans, and very good loans in Rashford and Asensio. And they sent out a bunch of players. 4, 8, 10 players. Crazy numbers for Aston Villa. But I think, to me, Marcus Rogers is one of the best players in the Premier League right now, to me, frankly. One of the most effective players. If Holly Watkins is hurt, they're going to be in some pain because they got rid of Durant. They don't have a center forward unless they play Rashford up front. So that should be interesting. Borman, who has about 12 injuries. As you can see, they brought in a number of players. See people, Matai Akimboni, 50 million from DC United. MLS is selling players. Durant came from the MLS, I think from Chicago. MLS selling players to the Premier League and getting decent money. That league 10 years from now probably going to be top 5 in the world, I think. I think they replace Eredivisie at some point. Because people like living in the US, especially what spread out it is. Crampton, Solar, I don't know. But see, they have about 5, 6 in. They sent out a number of players, including Max Aarons, who we want to come play for Jamaica. Max Aarons was supposed to be going to Italy. I'm not sure what happened, but he's alone at Valencia. Brentford brought in a few players, but mainly loans, and sent up a few players. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. Brighton, always buying and chopping and selling. Look, another player gets sold from Inter, right? So MLS is a selling league. $11 million for Diego Gomez. Right? So you saw 15 million before, now 11. So money gets put into the MLS by selling to the Premier League, actually, who have a lot of money. And you can see Brighton always have players in and out. It's like a rotating door. We're gonna get to Tottenham jargons. Are you I don't think you're a Tottenham fan. So Drew Ross says, I hope Rashford does well at Villa and they buy him. We need the dollars. One thing I hate about and at least that they have a meal. No, I don't hate that actually. They should have a meal with the team mentality. Team don't give a damn about the players. Let me just say this, Drew Ross, because I think we have this misconception as fans. Want the players to love the team more than love themselves? Hell no. If any player, you come first, not no darn team. Team doesn't give a hoot about you. I could point you 100 cases where a team try to undermine players, get rid of players. The team don't care about you. The fans don't care about you. All fans want to do is win, including yours truly, by the way. We don't care about no players. Don't get it twisted. We don't care about no players. We care about winning and how we feel. We don't care about no players. So what we do is we will want to say, oh, this player is disloyal, or this player is this, or this player is that, and they're selfish, and they only want the money. Think about yourself and your job. You put the job over you? You put the company you work for over you? Or you put yourself first and your family first? Nonsense. No. Players come first. Player, do what's best for you and your family, not for no manager. Look what Arteta did to Ozil. Look what Arteta did to the entire team for Arsenal. Ozil, Aubameyang, like I said, and get rid of all of them without even thinking about it, no matter how they love the club. Look at Smith Rowe. Look at Nketiah. All grew up in the academy. Got rid of them. Players, focus on you. Don't give a darn about no club and no fans. Fans don't do nothing for you. I love my players that I have in my team, but if I can get better, I'm going to get better. I ain't sitting there thinking about, I'm so sentimental. No. Players think about themselves. I'm not buying that, Drew Ross. Sorry, I can't agree with you on that. Players take care of you first, club second, and fans second. Fans don't care about you. All they care about is winning. Look at the turn on Rashford, who did a lot for Man U when he was there and played well for them. Since he did a lot for himself, but for them, look at the turn on him. No. Rob Smith said, no player should ever lobby to a club. Fans are the most disloyal bunch. Leon was last thing. Yes, I exactly, Rob Smith. Perfect example, too. Players got to focus on themselves. Get your game together. Get your body fit. Maximize your earning potential. Do well for your club and your country. But at the same time, you come first. Don't let nobody fool you. Chelsea transfers. Chelsea didn't buy anybody this window, which is shocking. They always buy. They recall a bunch of players. Though Chalobah came back. He got into the team. He was on the bench today. He came on for the last 5 minutes. So they brought back some players, and they got out. Look how much players they sent out. Wow. And they have a bunch out already. Chelsea has always been a team that buy a lot of players and then loan them out. anything big in here? They got 12 million for Cesare. I think most of them are loans that go out. And Chilwell went to Crystal Palace on loan, which is. I remember they bought Chilwell. Where did Chilwell come from? Did he come from Leicester? I think he came from Leicester actually, for decent fee, over 40 mil. I think. He can spend money at Chelsea. Crystal Palace had a couple in. Send a few out. I know that they want Gui. Schlopp is probably the biggest name on here for them. Going to Celtic, and Trevor Chalobah, who's the brother of the other Chalobah. Well, no, I'm mixing this up. Chalobah is the one that got sent back. I know Chalobah has another brother who plays someplace else. But Schlopp is going to Celtic. Brendan Rodgers is beefing up his team. He brought Jota back from the French league, who was at Celtic before. Everton playing really well, has won a number of games. They have a few in and outs. They're going to get some money too. They're going to the new stadium, so they should get some more money to buy players. Fulham has 2 players who come in, one going out. I heard William is coming back to Fulham. Going to sign his contract tomorrow or have his medical tomorrow. What else? Ipswich. I like Delap. I think Arsenal should look at Delap as an alternative. They can't get the striker they want. Bet Godfrey, who went to Atalanta, I guess it didn't work out, who may still qualify to play for Jamaica. You guys can remind me if he is or not. But he came back to Ipswich on loan, so we'll see if he gets into the team, like Calvin Phillips. Philogene, who came from Aston Villa, who Aston Villa bought and then sold. So there are some changes there. I have a couple out. Leicester, they're going on to Premier League. Going into the Championship. It doesn't matter. Liverpool didn't bring anybody in. So notice Liverpool and Arsenal, who are 1 and 2, didn't bring anybody in, people. And Liverpool sent a bunch of players out, including Reece Williams, who at one point was in a good place, and Stefan, was it Basicek, who actually played well, midfielder. He's been down that list. You can't even see him anymore. He's so dark where he is. But they didn't bring anybody in, so they're comfortable. Man City, though, and you can tell the people who are not performing to expectation how much people they bring in. See, Man City bringing a bunch of players, and I think they brought somebody today. So they brought in Echeverria from River Plate. I think he was bought before. They brought in Kusanaf, who had a horrible first game. But when he was on the bench in the Champions League the other day, on Sunday. Victor Reis from Palmeiras, but he's 18, so we'll see how that works out. Mamouche, who is a really good player, hasn't scored yet. It says 59 mil. I think with add-ons, it's more than 59 mil. And then Nico Gonzalez from Porto for 50 mil. They didn't want to pay 50, but they need a replacement for Rodri until he comes back. Now, I'm not sure if he can play the 8, but when Rodri comes back, that's Rodri's spot, so we'll see how that goes. And then they have some players who go out, including Kyle Walker, who trying to get some game at Milan. Manchester United stole another player from Arsenal, Aiden Haven, who played in preseason. Good centre-back, young, I think he's about 18, somewhere around there. And they stole the other kid, Martin, a while back, who scored a ton of goals for the juniors. So they're raiding Arsenal. They're trying to get some of our players because they sure as hell need to do better. Anthony, who I mentioned earlier in the program, who went to Real Betis, who got man of the match in his first game. We'll see if that continues, but he looks good. I watched some of his highlights on YouTube. And then there's a bunch of other players who don't matter. But Man U needs help. I don't know why they didn't go get Tells, for example. Newcastle, Hayden, who plays for Jamaica now, went to Portsmouth, I should say, on loan. And they have another Lloyd Kelly. They sold to Juventus for a good fee, who they got for free. And Lloyd Kelly had Jamaican heritage, but I think he was in some foster child or something. So I'm not sure he has any papers to be able to try to pursue playing for Jamaica. But Lloyd Kelly so Newcastle made some profit off him. Nottingham Forest, they brought in one loanee. They're doing well. They won 7-0 over the weekend against Brighton, who was a good team. And they sent a few players out. Nothing here of note. Southampton, nothing here of note. It doesn't really matter. They're going down. Tottenham actually brought in some help, given all the injuries they have. So they had Anthony Kingsley from Slavia Prague. They have, can't even disclose this, can't even spell this, but it's Min Hyuk Yang, whatever that is, Dean Scarlett. But I think the big one for them is Mathis Tel, who's a under 21 international at Bayern. People say he's a winger, but he can play center forward. I think he's behind Harry Kane, that's why he didn't get no game. And he said he didn't want Tottenham first, and then he changed his mind, which is fine, interesting actually. Somebody probably convinced him he ain't getting no game at Bayern, so he might as well leave. And they have an option to buy him too. So if he performs well, gonna have a Tottenham because I think they're gonna get rid of Son next year. Actually, I think Son will leave, and he'll play one wing, and Brendan Rodgers play the Johnson will play the other wing. West Ham brought in Ivan Ferguson, who 2 years ago was the hottest prospect at center forward in the EPL from a young player standpoint, and he just fell down. New coach comes in. When Potter was there, he was hot. Zerbi came in, he had injuries, and I have a new coach and nowhere in sight. And they recall West Ham also recall Ward-Prowse from their loan at Nottingham because he wasn't getting any game time. And people were saying Ward-Prowse should be in the England team. Didn't see it. Great free kick taker, but didn't see it. And Maxwell Cornet went out on loan. I'm surprised Cornet didn't get more game time. I don't know what happened with that. Must have made somebody upset. And then Wolves brought in a few players. I think one of their players got hijacked by Tottenham. Would like to hijack people. Remember how Tottenham hijacked William way back when? No, sorry. Chelsea hijacked William from Tottenham. But Tottenham like to hijack people. Chelsea also hijacked Mudryk from Arsenal. Thank the Lord. Good hijacking, Chelsea. William worked out. Mudryk hasn't worked out. Now he's out on some drug situation. And Wolves brought in some players because they just need bodies, right? They bought 3 purchases for about almost 40 mil, or just over 40 mil. We try to get Cunha as a forward. So that was the transfer list for the EPL. I would say if you look at active teams, it's shocking that Man U was more active, given how active Tottenham were, and how active Villa were. Villa want to make sure they stay top 4. Villa's American owners were very ambitious. They want to win the Premier League. They want to win Champions League, and they're finding ways to manage the books to get around some of those challenges. Actually, who is Wilson S. Brand? I don't know that person. First of all, Nitro. Let me just say this: to Nitro and everyone else in the chat who are looking for players for Jamaica, we can only do so much. The people who run the JFF and the new coach, still new because it's been less than a year, they have to be, it's not even the coach actually, it's the JFF. At some point, the JFF has to sit down and think about, what are we trying to be? We want to be also ran, we want to be great, we want to be good, we want to be average, we want to be great in the Caribbean, and then talk about how great we are in the Caribbean. As we leave the Caribbean, we get our kicked. Because the long-term plan to develop the football, even though Jamaica has made progress, I watched an EPL game the other day. Well, I didn't watch the whole game. It was Waterhouse against somebody. After a while, you get tired. First of all, the field is bumpy. The ball bounce come to you, and you go for control the ball, and the ball just soup. And you're just like, I know the field have been improved somewhat, but it's challenging to watch. Yes, they did say Postecoglou called Tells and probably tell him, you're going to play. We're going to guarantee you play. We have a good team. We in line to win the trophy. Arteta does that. Players like when coaches call them. Because then the coach is going to make a commitment, which means you're going to play. Players just want to play, people. Players just want to play. Think about it. If you play football, you just want to play. Right? You just want to play. You don't want to sit on a damn bench. You want to be practicing all week or watch other people play. And if a coach is going to say, look, you're going to get playing time. And look, we're going to invest in the team. And look, I'm going to be here, even though he may not be there. Then you convince player. John Wallace pointed that they should have been on the 23 camp in March in UK last year. It appeared it was not held. So they were supposed to be. So I'm very familiar with that Nitro. I have a lot of inside information on that Nitro. It wasn't just an under 23 camp. Actually, it was a camp for 15 and 16-year-olds, actually, was supposed to be held at Man U in March 2024. So it wasn't under 23. And, well, some of the players were 15 or 16. There was about 19 players who were called up. I don't have the list with me. 19 players were called up from Chelsea, Arsenal, all the teams. In fact, some teams were complaining that he didn't inform us in time. I think it was, who was it? Some Premier League team. But There were like 14 or 15 Premier League teams involved, with more than one from these Premier League teams that were called up to this camp. And I was told the JFF canceled the camp for no reason, with no explanation. And by the way, people went about calling all these players, calling the clubs, engaging the clubs. Clubs agreed to bring the players. They got coaches with Jamaican descent in the UK who are coaching at a high level to come help run the camp for 2 days. If you look at the information, it looked really, really good. And JFF canceled the camp. One was to be held in Spain, one in England, and nobody was given any explanation as to why. Don't know who in the JFF canceled it, but you can guess who canceled it. It ain't Chung. It ain't Ricketts. You guys can guess. But anyway, at least it was inferred. Well, I shouldn't say, you can't guess, because I'm going to call on name, so you can't guess. I'm going to call on name. Nobody can say we call on name. But the fact of the matter is that, and these players all have Jamaica heritage, and I'm sure 3 or 4 of them probably go on to do really, really well, because it was Tottenham, Chelsea, Man U, Man City. Think about all the big team them people. Players get invited, club says yes, and we cancel the camp. So it's either deliberate that whoever is doing these things don't want the players from there because they know they're going to get into the national team, or we're just incompetent. It's one of the two. Whatever it is, you and I who are fans will just have to deal with it because we can't do nothing about it. I didn't call any name Watkins. I don't know who it was who canceled the camp, to be honest. But I don't think it's Chung. I should say I don't know. I don't think it's Chung. I don't think it's Ricketts. Because Ricketts and Chung don't operate that way. So whoever did it, I don't know who did it. I can't call a name. I can't say this person did it. But you know what? I'm not even going to say that. I can think who would have done it, but I can't say exactly who did it. But the prank was canceled, not by the people who organized it. And yes, John Wall was involved in some of these things. But then John Wall was not fired. He was reassigned, we were told. He was reassigned. And maybe that's why he has a case with FIFA, because he was reassigned, not fired. Reassigned and let go. That's why he probably has a case with FIFA now to figure out how to resolve the situation. But there's some people holding Jamaica football back really badly. And they will protest as much as they want to protest. They're part of the problem. They're not part of the solution. They're part of the problem. I ain't calling nobody name. You guys don't print any name in there and say, Cranky said this, because I'm not calling nobody name. There are people in Jamaica who basically tell you other people think like this. But some of the people I talk to, some in the JFF too, I don't get the sense from them. There are some people who just want the best situation. They understand, they can think deductively and strategically about where we should be going. They may not have the football acumen in some areas and specialization, but they know big picture how organizations should be run. You see, me interview Chung, for example. Good discussion with Chung. He can talk about all these things, but Chung is not making football decisions because people have their verticals that they deal with, right? Some people have the technical department, some people have finances, some people have marketing. Everybody have their line, their verticals that they're responsible for. Technically, we're not doing well in Jamaica. Technically, we're not doing well. Finances are getting better. Technically, we are poor. But they're all interrelated. So the money or the infrastructure, but it's about brain power and thought. And if you ain't got the intellectual capital to think a certain way, to do certain things, then you're going to always struggle. I was talking to somebody about that today. About, you know what? You can't just sit down on something and complain about the man, this and that. Go figure it out. Think outside the box. Don't just think in your little silo and your little box that you're. Think outside the box. Intellectual capital is an imperative that one need to have. That's why you see them, Trump bringing Musk to come turn over the U.S. government because he believes that he's the most brilliant person on the planet. That ego can get him in trouble. But I'm sure he's a smart man. That's why he can start businesses and make billions of dollars. But you need to go find intellectual capital where it resides, bring it into the organization, and work with them to allow you to make progress. And right now, some of that is lacking in Jamaica. Not only in the football, in other areas. And people don't want to admit it. They get upset when you say it. Yeah, BM, I said that? I can't recall that. I can't recall that, BM. BM, nobody believe in BM because everybody say I'm negative against a person. So nobody will be a BM. I remember you saying that. You got to go point it. You have to go clip that and send it to me. You have to go clip that and send it to me. I'm not blaming anybody per se in that sense. I'm saying there are people in Jamaica, and I've been told this, which is, cranky, you think you know everything about everything. I'm going to repeat that 101 times because it bugs me. Thinking everything about everything, and there are people in Jamaica who think the same way. I heard Oral Tracy think the same way because he want balance. But the people who are local, they're so local, and they have their, we go come in a spot, and they put on blinkers, kind of on the horse, and look if I go right, I'll run to them lane. Some people at Jamaica, some people at Jamaica stay. I'm not saying everybody, some people at Jamaica, some them stay. And in position of authority, they have on blinkers and they can't see nothing else. They can't, and because they can't see anything else, they can't think about cost benefit of situations. Or they're very selfish. And they want to think about the benefit, nothing about the cost. And the benefit is not for the country, the benefit is for themselves. And when you think that way, then we won't make progress. And if they think broader sometimes, they probably make more by thinking broader than they think they make by their little silo situation the way they think. But they don't have the mindset to even think that way. So they're gonna do what they do. And my philosophy is that if you're involved in something for the country, it's unlike a club and a player, You're working for the country. It's like working for the club in a sense. Except to me, player is a contracted player. It's a little bit different. If you go work for the country, which is more of a volunteer role, but you may get some compensation, then the country has to come first. If it's a job you do a different thing, but then don't work for the country then. Don't go in them role there where the country's supposed to come first. Don't take the role then. Don't take the role then. Yeah, Rob Smith, I heard that Dexter went to Barnsley. Dexter need to play more football because Dexter don't look good the last time we them come. Dexter didn't look good. I'm a Dexter proponent and Dexter supporter. Dexter to me didn't look good. So Dexter we need to go get players. As I said before, we need 3 players for every single position. And the way we're going, people, I don't know how that's going to work in terms of World Cup qualifiers. We're not playing the toughest. When we get to the last round, we'll get to the other round, but when we get to the last round, it's going to be tougher. We need to get better players. Let's hope we get Mason Greenwood, who will then bring some players. Because I look like JFF, no one can get a player. And JFF hasn't really thought about, you know what, let's go out and come up with a recruiting strategy that we can deploy or employ and deploy to go identify talent at a really good age and bring them in, cap them, and have them play for the team sustainably. In the meantime, we can develop our local football to be competitive. Because please tell me the last time. So we'll see what the under-17 does, even though they're not in the boys group, even though they've been coached by somebody in the diaspora. And it's a mixed team. It's not just a local team. But we'll see how they do. But when somebody come tell me what the girls played this in the Caribbean and they win, I'm like, I don't even want to hear that. I don't care. When you beat some team in CONCACAF, come talk to me. When you beat El Salvador and Nicaragua and Honduras and the US and Canada and Costa Rica, then come talk to me. Otherwise, tell me about St. Vincent and Trinidad and Martinique. Me no want to hear them thing there. Yeah, disrespect Jamaica. I mean, the Caribbean element that be happy with me saying that, but yeah, disrespect Jamaica. Star. We're bigger than that. Maybe an ego thing, but we're bigger than that. That's disappointing. And every time we do that and we win and we go play somebody else outside, we get handed to us. And we still not learn. Meritocracy is the word now which is called out by MAGA in the US. So I hate to use it because they use it for different purposes. But if you pick a team based on nepotism, if you pick a team based on balance, you gotta have balance. You get balance beaten. You win that Caribbean and you get balance out, but I get beat when you leave the Caribbean. That's why the balance I get. You win that Caribbean and then they get balance, but you get your butt kicked when you go to the Caribbean. That's the balance you're having. That's the balance you're getting. You go play Trinidad, you win. You go play Martinique, you win. You play Suriname, you win. You go play the US, you get your ass handed to you. That's balance. You get a balance beaten. So I don't want to hear that balance stuff no more. What I want to hear is Jamaica is competitive. You don't have to win every single game, but you're competitive. You play the US, you're competitive. You play Canada, you're competitive. You don't have to win every single game. We want to go to the game and feel like we can't win. We have done a poor job developing local talent. Me now blame the youth them. First of all, this is the most important asset you need to develop as a footballer. This thing of us. Not the one that you put them on your chest and your head. This. When you get this right, most things work after that. Because analytically, we are there. So, gaming says, Cranky right now, Bailey go to play like Taylor Scott Street players go to fight film position now. Yeah. He's in a tough spot. He may not get any game time. Because right now they're playing McGinn sometimes and Ramsey over him. And they're not wingers. So they'll flood the midfield with Tillmans, Kamara. They'll just flood it with a bunch of players and Marcus Rogers is playing anywhere he wants to play. He's like a 9.5, 10.5 winger, whatever it is, because he's so dominant. So Bailey may not get a game time. Big deal. So our players not good enough. The players have not been coached good enough. That's what I'm going to say from now on. They have not been coached well enough. Here's why I say that, because you cannot convince me otherwise. There's a disproportionate number of players of Jamaican descent playing in the Premier League, which means their physical composition is not materially different from those who are in Jamaica, in my view. So therefore, they have the raw material that you need to convert into productive players on the field with the right technical capability and mindset and skill set to compete at the highest level. Which means the coach in Jamaica has failed them. You could relate to coaching, infrastructure, resource, whatever you want to call it, it has failed them miserably. When I think about Nicholson transfer, I think he maybe when a team buys you, you're going to get playing time. He needs to take advantage of the playing time. Right? He's going to get playing time, and we need him to be playing because Antonio is out, and we don't have another center forward. We know we have Romario Williams, but he may not be at the level that we need because they're levels to this game. So I think that he needs to play and play a lot. Because when Boza can play, he didn't look like he was fit to me when he played in the Copa. I remember he played one game in the first half. He touched the ball once or twice. Even though he was working hard, though. I would say what's funny about him, he was running around, actually. Maybe not necessarily with the thought process sometimes, but he was putting himself about. So he's physically trying. So I do think he needs to. The frequency of playing will get you in a good stead. So let's hope he gets enough playing time. Nigel said, yeah, I agree. Football isn't our DNA. We're just not developing players. Raheem Sterling said it. Yeah. No. I mean, people don't realize that some things I hear about some of the academy players go through and the football and what's taught and the game. And one thing I hear Rudolph says, which Arteta says a lot nowadays, talk about moments in the game, right? So you can see he's registering that the game is about moments and what you do in different moments. People use it a lot in coaching. Like it's a coaching language. Like, have moments in life anyway. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So I do think the coaching and the getting the accreditation is helping to improve the coaching, but it'll take time. I think they need to have a comprehensive process and timelines associated with it about when they get the coaching to the right level. At the same time, they have to develop the infrastructure because I was watching the game I said yesterday and the field was awful as far as I'm concerned. Ball wasn't bouncing right. Man make a pass to you and the ball divert to you when you get to you. That don't work. Okay, here we go. We've been competing Conquer for the past 30 years. Just recently, where people who are on YouTube trying to make money by spinning a narrative that we are no good. YouTube can't pay me football guru. So we don't know what you're talking about. Football is no good. Our players are not football guru. You know what I mean, though? I'm not going to get upset with football guru. Hey, football guru, you're right. Whatever you say, you're right. We've been wonderful. We've produced a lot of great players, like Caicedo for Ecuador, like Partey for Ghana. We've done a great job. Produced good players. They played in the Premier League. A lot of them have played in the Premier League. And they're doing really well, football guru. You're true. You're right. We've produced a lot of very good players, like the Ricardo Fullers of the world in the last 30 years, you said, and the Sheltons of the world, and the Baileys of the world. Wonderful players. You're right. We produced a lot of them, though. Like a track and field athlete. They're great players. They've done wonderful. So you're right, football guru. Can't argue with you on that. Well, a wonderful player. A lot of good midfielders, too, who've played in the Premier League. Just can't recall their names. A lot of them. They played for Arsenal and Villa. And Villa was in Premier League. Man U. A lot of them, football guru. I agree with you 100%. I think people in the chat here don't know what they're talking about. Or the people who, like me, was trying to spin and make our money off YouTube, who come up with this nonsense about we don't produce good footballers. You're right. They're great. And in the MLS, too, because in the MLS, when you just started, there's a lot of Jamaicans in there. And there are a ton of Jamaicans in the MLS now, right? Right, Football Guru? A lot of them are matriculating from the JPL to the MLS, Football Guru, correct? Because I know I'm the fellow footballer. I don't know anything I'm talking about. Football Guru, educated masses, Football Guru. We have a lot of players. Not even go to the GPL, they go into the MLS also, and to the Mexican League. Because we see Nicholas going to the Mexican League, and they go into the top leagues in Europe. So you're right, Football Guru. We have a lot of players from Jamaica matriculating to the higher leagues and doing exceptionally well. World-class players. That's when we played the US the other day. We had so many local players on the team, and we got 4. So you're right. Doesn't take away the fact that we have played in the Gold Cup and we have come in the final. We have done a lot of that. But we were never dominant in any of those games. So the Football Guru says he's right. He knows a lot about football. He's the guru, as he says. And he's a wonderful intellectual. So Football Guru, thanks for your contribution. We appreciate you and your knowledge and your expertise. And we appreciate the fact that Jamaica has been a football dominion, a football country, which has produced a lot of great players. And Jamaica is doing phenomenally well, Football Guru, the local players. So we keep searching for players outside Jamaica. You're right. There's no other contribution. Yeah, no, but you just said that we're trying to spin a narrative, and I'm part of the football. I'm part of the YouTube organization, and I think you're being disingenuous when you say that. We wouldn't be going overseas recruiting players like we are if we had all the players with the right quality. Tell me the world-class player that we have produced, Football Guru. I'm not going to use the last 20 years. In the last 10 years, apart from maybe, say, Blake in MLS, who thinks is a very good player, walk me to the local player we have produced in the last 5, 6, 7 years who's a wonderful player. We're supposed to be making steady progress, So we're coming from the Bibi Gardners, we're going through the Fullers of the world, we're going through the Austins of the world, decent players, the Sheltons of the world. Walk me through those players who know in the last 5, 6 years who have been so wonderful. Yeah. Because I don't know football. I don't get football. But anyway, people, I'm gonna close this down soon. I'm gonna say this actually, which is I do hope though. I said this to the JFF already that the JFF has been very exclusionary when it comes to Jamaicans outside Jamaica. Here's what people don't understand, which is very important, right? If you export talent, which is what Jamaica does, export a lot of people, a lot of human capital all over the globe. You export a lot of people over the globe, right? It's like I'm going to give you the analogy. It's like Jamaican players who go through the EPL system, people. Just think about this. And they become world-class, some of them, like are very good, like the Sterlings of the world, the John Bonds of the world, Theo Walkers of the world, Kai Walker, well, Jamaican heritage, right? They've gone overseas, they've learned from the best, they've gone on some of those skill set, and they apply it and they do really well. But it's no different in any other discipline. So Jamaicans are all over the globe, right? But those group of Jamaicans who you exported, you're now trying to exclude them because you don't want people on the island to be doing what they're doing. You don't want anybody to intrude on your space. But they have gone out and garnered all that knowledge, all that know-how, all that expertise that they can bring back to you. But you don't want it. Or you push back on it. Or you set up your system so you can exclude them. They can't get involved. Like JFF has a 10-year requirement to live on the island to be involved in the JFF. So you have done a wonderful job, right? A wonderful job of excluding those people from your organization. But you recycle the people you have year after year after year. They produce nothing, or limited things. You don't want to leverage the intellectual capital you have on the globe. They can go out and source to help you progress as a nation. It's not only about football, it's period. And if they want to get involved, they got to fight. They can only do so through their high school, where they raise a lot of money and they buy a lot of stuff. Because all you want to take from them, you don't want to give them anything. They can't get access because you want to manipulate everything and you want to control everything. But and by the way, those people that you're trying to keep out, they don't need you. Liam Bailey said it. He was right in a sense, but I don't think he should have said it. But the people you're trying to keep out, you're going to say, they're trying to give back because they love the country. They don't need you. You need them when they need you, but you don't even know you need them because you're so focused on maintaining what you have, you don't even know what good looks like. Write this down, Football Guru, by the way. You don't know what good looks like. You think you do, but you don't. You work for some small company, you think you work for a big company. because that's what biggest into your mind. But those people have gone out and learned from the people who are done really well globally. A ton of Jamaicans have done this. But you don't bring them back, or you don't leverage their intellect to help you progress. So you stay where you are and you think you're doing wonderful. But when you get compared to the rest of the world or to outside the Caribbean, you're not even ordinary. And the people who are outside want to come in and want to help you get frustrated. And you're like, you know what? I don't need the hassle. I just wanted the help because I want to give back. But you don't get that because you're so into yourself. Are you into so be protective? Are you into people like Football Guru who just are just the most negative person on God's earth and want to beat anybody who may critique or provide a perspective different from theirs? That's the people like Football Guru are the problem. They're not the solution. They are the problem. They don't bring no solution. They're just trying to push back. You bring ideas, they fight. At least you hear people like Dennis Chung saying, yeah, we listen to the YouTubers, and when they have ideas, we may leverage those ideas. It was people outside of that, the Jamaica people who come up with the idea about trying to monetize social media to help the JFF. So it is unfair for Football Guru to keep beating YouTubers and beating others who may have a different view from people in Jamaica who live on the island. Because people on the island is people like Maverick, who run their mouth 24/7, who's on the corner having their radio show. Come and listen to him this morning. I've turned it off. CM people calling, CM they talk with the CM thing, and it just gets boring. And it gets annoying too. And you sit there thinking, man, have nonsense media, but you never get nonsense. But nonsense media only work for those who disagree with him. Don't work for those who agree with him. Okay, if you don't agree with him, it's nonsense. If you agree with him, it's wonderful. That he's indicative of the examples that we have in the country. Not disputable. And Football Guru, I'm not gonna put up what you say, Football Guru. People who have the Lord's don't want to work. Yeah. The part of the matter is Football Guru. There are a lot of Jamaicans who I know. Think about the people like Erwin Clear, for example, involved with like Gibson, the pen relays and all that. There are a bunch of Jamaicans who want to help. People like Kyle, who's running around now, trying to have supporters club. Call me, can we going down by Bellyful Restaurant? Can you come there? We're gonna do this. We want to link up a restaurant in Jamaica, New York, in Queens, Brooklyn, trying to get together, trying to build that momentum, trying to build that vibe, trying to build that camaraderie. Then we have football guru now, do not know just want to criticize. There are a lot of Jamaicans who love the country, who are diehard Jamaicans, who want to help the island, who want to work the people. So a lot of them have done well in their life and they're very comfortable. They just want to give back and help. And all of them get that pushback. So then you say to yourself, Jesus. But some people don't want to give up because they know what good looks like. And they know the people who are in position are not good. They're not good for the country. They're not good for themselves. They're not good for nobody. They know this. And that's why they push back. And they try. But then they're not on the island to influence change with something you have to be. Or they're in a position to influence change because the people have an oligopoly they set up where they're them and their friends running certain organizations and it ain't changing. They ain't letting nobody in. So the island is going to suffer and go in one direction. Now, you may look around and see more buildings going up. Then you look at the culture that's degrading day after day after day. And then some of them want to come out, they want to box man because a man said the country may be corrupt. And they want to do this. They're just showing how ignorant they are. The ignorance is just coming out. Because you want to use physical violence to suggest that you oppose to somebody. It shows you're ignorant and bakawal you are. You haven't come into the 21st century. So anyway, let me stop with my soliloquy. I for the last football guru comic, I love it. You are the vice cranky. Even your good friend man told you it is not like you. Told you speculate when you see it close up. Man told you it is not like how you speculate when you see it close up. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm divisive. If you think I'm divisive, that's your perspective. That's your opinion. I don't really care what you think. Football guru, you think I care what you think? I don't care what you think. I don't have to go to Jamaica to learn about the space. I grew up in Jamaica, lived there for a long time. Used to go back regularly. I don't go back as regular as I used to anymore. I don't have to go back to Jamaica to learn the places. I don't have to go to Jamaica to learn about anything is, actually. You'd be surprised what I have in Jamaica or who I know in Jamaica or engage Jamaica. I don't have to go back to Jamaica to know the places. I know what the place is. I know what development is going on down there. But if you ain't changing the culture, If you ain't changing the crime, if you ain't changing the mindset, all you got is buildings and some roads and some things. They're physical things. This is the most important thing to change. The culture ain't changing. I hear about nowadays is jacket and this and by the way, I was talking to somebody today about jacket. The person told me that they I probably shouldn't even say this. Somebody mentioned to me that they have a number of kids. Let's say the number is double digit, and then probably believe about 40% of them. And I said to them, I actually believe, I'm going to do a show on this, by the way. I'm thinking about this, which is, I wonder, this is going to sound weird, me saying this, but I'm going to say that out loud. I wonder if promiscuity in Jamaica is passed down from generation to generation. Do you inherit promiscuity? It sounds weird, actually. But how do you explain it? It's not because you inherit the genes to be a good track and field, and Jamaica produces a lot of track and field athletes. Jamaican men are known to be promiscuous globally, not debatable. But then when you find out the women are probably just as promiscuous, then you just sit back and say, is it in the DNA? Is it in the gene? What? Because it just can't be that people it's weird, actually. It's weird. But anyway, it's weird. Yeah. Manny's man was like you until he got involved in I don't have to get involved in the real thing. You can tell me football guru. You, Manning's man, anybody else can tell me about what I'm talking about. Same people in the same position doing the same thing. Not disputable. I know some of them. Same people in the same position. That's why I opposed Raymond when he was running for president, because in JFA for over 20 years, I'm not doing nothing. But I'm in charge of facilities, what the hell it was. They do nothing. And couldn't support a man who in a position for 19 years. If you're in a position for 19 years, you have to show what you have accomplished in 19 years. Nothing. So you can't tell me anything about see anything. The people there, it's amazing how this works. So they have not been exposed, which may include you, footballer. You got to be exposed, people. People don't seem to get that, you know. Exposure enlighten you. Say your football guru says, why do you focus on things negative about the JFF? Try and find something we do well and talk about it. We're talking about football. What are you talking about? We're talking about football. We're talking about crime. What do you mean? Okay, you tell me what we talk about. Tell me what we do when we talk about. Okay, football guru. So tell me what we do when I should talk about. Go on, tell me. Please tell me, football guru. What have we done so wonderful that I should talk about? Let me know. See, you brought up a great point, actually. You say I'm too negative. I should talk about things that we do well as a Jamaica. We're doing well now, right? Tell me what you should talk about. You tell me what we do well that I should focus on. I disagree, Nitro. I disagree. And you got to be very careful when you say Americans, because they're distinctive groups, right? America is a very multifaceted country. Some groups will have worse than others. I agree, because you see them in paternity court. But they did have some stats on some of these things, you know, that I did in my program the other day, where they had stats. They had global stats. They had Jamaica stats in the US, stats in Canada, stats in Jamaica. I did go watch my program. I did have the stats. Now, Jamaica is in a class by itself. In fact, Jamaica is worse than I thought it was, because there was a guy from 876 who did a program more recently on TVJ, and the stats I had said 1 in 3 in general in Jamaica were jackets, and 70% of those who had doubts, well, 876 says 40-something% of those who come to them. 876 has what? Locations, all 14 parishes, multiple location parishes. They're saying it's 47% of people who come to them. It's not all daughters who are deemed to be what do we call it? Jackets. So yeah, I think Jamaica is in. No, there may be other parts of the Caribbean who probably. No, Jamaica just bad, man. Bad. We're talking about Jamaica anyway. We're not talking about the rest of the world. We're talking about Jamaica. Bad. But no, the point I'm trying to make, football guru, which you seem to miss, it was direction of travel in the discussion. It was about the football, and how poorly we're doing in certain areas, and the fact that is a symptom that we see in other things that we don't do well, right? It was about the local people, local persons in Jamaica, some local persons who want to hold everything for themselves and don't spread their wings or don't give opportunities for those inside Jamaica. The diaspora complain but not involved in Jamaica. In it, diaspora complain all the time. This is not cranky. This is diaspora. Talk about how tourists come back despite the negative narrative and how they always rate us as the most hospitable. Let me talk about what foreign I want to talk about. May I talk about what me see, what me important to me? Keep on tourist thing. What me think about tourist thing? Them come enjoy somewhat Jamaican, some most Jamaican will never see and enjoy. What are you talking about? Because you guys are elitist football guru. I ain't no elitist. You guys are elitist. You focus on, just like what Hagrimson says, he passed the hotels and the lawns are immaculate in the football field and in bumpy. I'm not going to talk about an elitist thing. I go to the resorts. The local people, they are the ones I see are the ones working. It's not the local people who live in Jamaica or the foreigners. I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the man on the street, the people who want to play football or people who can't go them home because they're afraid of gunshot. That's what I want to focus on. I'm not focused on, and why would I focus on things that do good? I'm going to influence that. It's doing good already. You're missing the point, football guru. This is meant to engender change. This ain't meant to come pat back for things that you don't do well. No, sir. Didn't you see the U.S. give a lot of warnings, football guru, about going to Jamaica? Or you missed those? Huh? Football people go on holiday, have fun in the football guru. That's normal, you know. They're spending their money. And the Jamaicans, they're smart enough to realize that, you know what? Smart get you money, like if they go to a waiter or a waitress. We can do better as a people. We have the resources, human capital to do better. We've exported a lot of human capital. We can leverage that human capital to do better. We got to come together as one more. And you guys in Jamaica, you may be in Jamaica, I know where you are, but you guys are very divisive. A lot of you guys are divisive, especially people in power. You want everything for yourself. I had a program the other day where 2 months ago, where I talked about the Prime Minister, Integrity Commission, and somebody come up and cussed me out, said a bad word. And all I was doing was explaining the thing. But they were so into themselves and into their politics that they don't even know what is good from bad from what is explanation, what's not. We are overachieving at football, cranky, despite the lack of funding. All right, people, more close on the program. I've never heard such garbage in our life. You know what's funny? I said this to somebody about track and field on Coach's Desk program. What's his name? Leighton, the guy who's a football track and field expert in Jamaica. And he was on Leighton on Coach's Desk program. I said we overachieve in track and field per capita, given our size. And them, both him and Minzy want to beat me because they said nonsense me attack. Right? Their perspective was that Jamaica should be dominant because we're dominant. We're just that good. Well, that got to equate to everything else that we do. If the Jamaicans outside Jamaica are doing so well in football, and we have all the raw material, and I say the coaching is part of the problem, leadership part of the problem, and you're going to talk about size, when our size is similar to Uruguay, you're talking garbage. Ernest says, well, cranky, the tourists don't or can't go any and everywhere in Jamaica. Yeah, that's true too. But football guru only want to hear the great side of things. And I'm not saying Jamaica is all bad, right? I think the government has done a good job in some of the infrastructure projects they've done, even though Trump would want to change some of that and not be just America dependent. But I don't think as a people, like I used to with Israel and the Jews, how they more coalesce. That means that everybody's on the same page because they have their problems too. But every Jewish person who's born outside of Israel is a citizen, automatically a citizen. We don't have that in Jamaica. We're not trying to encourage that in Jamaica. A lot of people in power in Jamaica just want to maintain their power. They just want to maintain their power. That's it. Right? They find ways to block people who go overseas because they say we have abandoned the island and we're not real or whatever. What the mayor man to say? The runway. People don't go to try to make themselves better. Oh, come on. Jesus. All right. And last comment up with the football guru. Football guru is he sees objectivity and he turns the opposite direction. That's what he does. But anyway, let me close out the program here by saying, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. You could be any place else. As you leave, just hit the like button. Secondly, I try to there's a you know what, I should look this up. As I said before, Jamaica plays Trinidad on Thursday. I should have found this already, Jamaica plays Trinidad on Thursday. They'll be watching the game in various different locations in the tri-state area. I don't know why we're not flew in Florida and in Jamaica. And I'm trying to find. Okay, so here it is. The game is at the game's going to be shown on Thursday. You got to call to confirm times with the restaurants. But Bellyful Restaurant in Brooklyn, 2102 Utica Avenue, and these on Thursday. I think the game starts at 8, isn't it? So you guys got to remind me of that. Bronx, Radix Restaurant and Lounge, or Radix Restaurant and Lounge, 938 East 233rd Street. Again, 938 East 233rd Street in the Bronx. You can call the number 718-416-90. Tomorrow I'll put the number up if I do a show tomorrow. 718-416-9022. Call to confirm showing times. And for the Bellyful Restaurant in Brooklyn, which is on Utica Avenue, 2102, 718-252-7070. You got to call to confirm when they're going to show the game. The game is also going to be in Queens. Okay, it's in Jamaica too. Showing at Original Dance Hall Thursdays, 52 Dunbarton Avenue, 876-523-6122. Again, you should call to confirm times. And then you have, tomorrow what I'll do if I do a show is drop this in the chat. Hush Restaurant on Linden Boulevard in Elmont, New York, 516-758-7287. And then Jerk It Smoke, it's at 2060 Yellow Springs Road, apartment 104 in Maryland, 240-8314 and 57. So we have 5 restaurants where the game's going to be showed simultaneously. It's going to be happening those events. They'll have interviews, they'll have discussion, they'll watch the game and cheer on the team. So you should go there and hang out. If you're in Maryland, if you're in New York or in Jamaica, the locations I just mentioned. Right? So I think people in diaspora are trying to bring that, even though Football Guru doesn't really see these things, trying to bring the people together, country together, organize things, which would always benefit the JFF at some point, because you build momentum, you build the camaraderie, you build the engagement. People will come, they'll find ways to coalesce, and then to go to the games, whether they're in the US or in Jamaica, you'll build that same thing, right? So it's a good thing. So yeah, so hopefully it'll be a fun Thursday. I plan to try to get to the one on Utica Avenue. I can't say I'm 100% sure. I think I'm 90% sure. The one on Utica Avenue, 2102 Utica Bellyful Restaurant. I don't know I saw a picture of the restaurant. I don't know how big the restaurant is. So if a lot of people turn up, I'm not sure they're going to work, actually, but we'll see how it works. But Kyle from Reggae Boy Supporters Club is one of the organizers for all of this, trying to coordinate all of this. So Kyle should be commended, Kyle. Brilliant job, and keep on doing what you're doing. Everyone, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful evening, including you too, Football Guru, because I've never you are the counter person. Anything somebody say, you say the opposite. Remember, somebody said no. I'm going to call her a friend, but somebody said no. But anyway, have a wonderful night, everyone, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace out. Have a good night. Frankie Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk, and it's free, yo. Frankie Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Frankie Life, tell them. Frankie Life, heed them. Frankie Life, want them. Frankie Life. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Cranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Cranky Life, tell them. Cranky Life, heed them. Cranky Life, want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Cranky Life, get to know the name because Cranky analysis is never lame. Cranky Life, give me my Cranky Life. I want my Cranky Life. Must have my Cranky Life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Cranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and don't miss a beat of cranky life. Tell them, cranky life. Heed them, cranky life. Warn them, cranky life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Cranky Live. Tune into Cranky Live. Like up Cranky Live. Subscribe to Cranky Live. Cranky Live coming to you on weekdays. Cranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky Live. Me say fi tell them Cranky Live. Me say fi heed them Cranky Live. On them Cranky Live. Cranky Live will be around. Cranky Live is the best in town. Me say fi eat them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi eat them. Want them, eat them, want them. Cranky Live. Cranky Live. Eat them, want them, eat them, want them. Cranky Live. Cranky Live. Eat them, want them, eat them, want them, eat them, want them. Cranky Live. Cranky Live. Cranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed, want, heed them.